Hi guys, welcome to Talking Tottenham 1882 and welcome to Billy T. You all know Billy if you're on Twitter or you're on YouTube. And guys, big up to you in the chat. I hope you got over last night's disappointing England performance. I don't think so much the players were disappointing as much as Tommy I surrender Tuchel as performance. For me, it was a bitter pill to swallow. And at one stage, I thought we were going to be celebrating Jedley as one of the stars of the World Cup to go along with Pedro Porro. But it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. Guys, if you're here for the first time, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. And if you like and you prefer to listen on audio, we are available on all your main platforms, Spotify, and also on Apple. And not to forget our sponsor, OK Jersey. And if you use that code TT10, no longer Talking Tottenham 1882, it was a bit of a mouthful, TT10, you will get your 10% off. So there is quite a lot to talk about, even though the news is quite short. Savinho, yes, to Spurs. Our number one target incoming. Lots of clues as to what's going on. I mean, he's emerged as Spurs' number one target. It's probably the worst kept secret in football. We're still led to believe that it is De Zerbi's choice and De Zerbi's number one target. If you believe that, I'm not sure. We'll find out what Billy thinks in a minute. But we had Fabrizio Romano repost an old Savinho post, and then we saw Xavi Simons giving the eye emoji when asked if Savinho was coming. And then suddenly Spurs fans are asking, are all the ducks aligned, and is he coming now? These were the tweets, top right hand corner. There's Savinho giving the Brazil and the heart, and then the Xavi Simons giving it the eyes. Billy, what are your thoughts on this one? Can't hear you, mate.
Sorry, mate. I think we almost have to sign him, don't we? With how many times he's liked our posts on Instagram. He's been following us on Instagram for a long time now, hasn't he? So I feel bad if we don't sign him, I think. And I think it's interesting because obviously people will look at the fact that he was a number one target last summer and then going into this summer, is it the same? Is it a De Zerbi player? But I think from the business so far, it's safe to say De Zerbi's had a big say in it. So hopefully he's had a big say in this one as well. I'd like to sign a striker on top of it too, but I think, this is no doubt going to be a winger that will start for us. And I think I saw the him last time, if you're lining up with Kudus on one wing and Savinho on that, that's pretty dangerous, isn't it?
It is. I mean, is Savinho genuinely our number one target? I mean, what does De Zerbi see that other clubs who aren't coming in for him maybe don't?
Yeah, it's difficult to know, isn't it? Because he was a target long before we had De Zerbi, and he's essentially been begging to join us for months now. So you'd wonder why they didn't pull the trigger sooner, because he's been available all summer, and we acted early for other transfers. So you'd have to wonder what's going on there. Maybe he just had a look around the market, people like Leao, and didn't fancy him, and they've decided actually, let's go back and get him now. Maybe they've took their time with this one. And there's not like a whole host of names, are there? There's that we've been linked with. I know there's Nusa, there's Leao, there's Savinho, there's some very tenuous links to Morgan Rodgers as well, which I don't think is realistic. So maybe they've just decided all of a sudden, let's go and get it done. That's the one I want now.
I mean, a lot of people are talking, myself included, about, well, a couple of things really. Asking the question, is he really elite? Are we paying too much for potential? We bought Tell, potential. He's what, a year older than Tell? We all know how good he was at Girona, but we also know that last year, 880 minutes, just 1 goal, 2 assists. a lot of questions asked as to the price and whether or not he is that elite left-sided player that's going to transform Spurs. When you look at, some of the players, right? For example, Arsenal looking at Christos Solis, who for me is an absolute baller, who's going for 35 million to Arsenal, 35 million euros, I think it might even be. For us to be spending, rumoured to be in the region of 50 million plus potential add-ons. Do you think, look, it's not our money, but do you think we're getting an elite player who will give us elite assists and goals? Because goals, after all, Billy, is goals that we ain't got.
I don't think we're getting an elite player, to be honest with you. No, we're getting a potentially elite player. Again, you use that word potential. Tottenham fans are sick of hearing that word potential, but we didn't sign potential in midfield. We signed the real deal. So maybe they're thinking, I think, under De Zerbi's coaching, they could definitely turn elite there, that's for sure. And I think when you got Kudus and Savinho on one side, it is dangerous. I'd be a bit worried about his goal output, like you, because that's the one thing we lack. We're essentially replacing Son, because we didn't replace him last summer. And then Son's worst Premier League seasons, he'd give you 20 goals a season. So that's the level that we're talking about that we're replacing. We're replacing one of the best ever goal scoring wingers the Premier League has ever seen. So, I'm a bit worried on the goal front in particular. But you never know with De Zerbi. De Zerbi is an incredible coach, so he might be able to coach it into him. We might see that Girona player who did get a lot of goals and assists.
Unbelievable.
We have not seen it in Man City as much, but we might see that Girona player under De Zerbi. And I think it comes down to that question for me, and that's the only thing I particularly care about, is if De Zerbi generally wants him, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, he wouldn't be my first choice. I like Said Mala, I like Liao. I like Somerville. There are players that I like, but like you, I'm quite prepared to turn around and say, you know what, if this is what De Zerbi wants, I'll back it. What we had last year, Billy, was the fact that under Frank, we had Kudus on one wing on the right-hand side, and it was our only outball. Yeah. It was our only outball. And every time they're looking to find him, they're doubling up on him. And really, they sort of shut out his game and therefore shut out our game because we had no proper created midfield. And if we have someone like Savinho on that side, and we have Kudus on the other side.
You can't double up on Kudus then because there'll be too much space on the left.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, what I'm thinking is between those two and the fact that De Zerbi likes the strikers to drop deep to create that space on the flanks for the two wingers, maybe Savinho, this is Savinho's chance to establish himself. Because let's be honest, if you look at how many wingers have gone to Manchester City and have failed miserably, is it because they're bad wingers? I don't think so, because Man City have paid big money for them. But what we found is that understanding the huge demands and the complicated passage of play that Pep demands, that some of them just can't hack it. And maybe a more simplistic style of football. Not that De Zerbi's football is simplistic, but do you know what I mean? What are you thinking there?
Yeah, I agree. And I think, to make it a Man City is almost one of the hardest clubs in the world. You've seen some of the players that have failed there. Even players like, Semenyo and Doku are in the team there. And you've got the very best wide players in the world that you're competing with. Don't forget, all of their output pretty much goes through Haaland. So it's quite difficult. Not many other people score other than Haaland at Man City. It's a very, very demanding situation. We saw Jack Grealish go for £100 million and kind of struggle at Man City at times and then eventually be loaned out to Everton. And Jack Grealish is one of, a really, really exciting winger that got that. People say that Pep sort of knocks it out of them, doesn't he? And sort of drills it out of them, their sort of excitement. So I think it'll be a fresh start. But what I do think is if you're a defensive unit and, you've got Savinho on one side and Kudus on the other, you're in for a tough game. No one's going to want to face that because you're just going to get runners at you the whole game. And I think I'm right in saying that in terms of beating one-on-one players, there's not many better statistically than Savinho. I think he's one of the best in the league at beating players. Yeah. I think it's only like Jeremy Doku's that is probably better than him at that. So it's going to be a nightmare for defenders to come up against. When you couple that with, hopefully you've got James Mannerton in the 10 who can score goals, Kudus on the other side. But what I will say, that if we do get Savinho, say 50 million, I think we've got to go all out for a striker, mate. I really do. I'm not happy with our two. I'm not happy with Solanke. Not happy with Solanke. It looks like Richarlison might go, and I'm the same as you, Johnny. If it was up to me, I'd keep Richarlison over Solanke all day. But we need a prolific striker in there, definitely, and I don't think Solanke is it.
Listen, I'm in 100% agreement. I just feel like we've got all the T's. We got everything except the crucial thing at the head, right? The head of the snake. I think we could be something very special if we could find that elite striker. The problem I have is that I love Krupi Jr.
Me too.
I absolutely love him, and it's not hype. I was watching him last year. There's just something special about him. He's an elite finisher. Yeah. He's in a steam company, scoring 13 goals in his debut season in the Premier League under the age of 20. But for me, at the moment, I look at him as more of an attacking midfielder. His stats as an attacking midfielder is where he's really dangerous now. So for me, he would play just behind a striker at this moment, like the second number 9. But can you see Spurs? Because I feel like we need 3 play. I feel like we need 3. I feel like we need a left wing, Krupi Jr., and a striker.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, what we're going to talk about in a minute, we're making a lot of money from selling players as well. So there's going to be money there. We're about to talk about some players that are going in a minute. And, if you rack up some of the money that we've sent, we're almost going to break even by the end of the window, you'd imagine. So there's going to be plenty of money there. I think the problem is, for me, there's just not a big striker market out there, is there? There's not. I see Simon's put Thiago in the chat there. I thought he looked dreadful in the World Cup, so it's difficult. There's no glaring striker. I think that's the good one we should go and buy, unless his name's Harry Kane. So it's a difficult market.
Brian Broby's been mentioned. Ivan Toney's been mentioned. But there was a plethora of strikers available last summer. Yeah,
last summer was the one, wasn't it? You had Sesko, Gyökeres.
There was so many, and Sean and I were saying, like, we felt like if Spurs don't move in this summer, being last summer, then we would, we could possibly pay the price. Look, De Zerbi's changed Spurs' transfer strategy. He's getting more influence than any previous manager. But his biggest challenge, what is his biggest challenge before the season starts? Is it getting rid of, analysing some of the players? For example, we don't know whether he looked at Vuskovic. We don't know what players he's looked at in depth. Mikey Moore wasn't allowed to go out on loan, for example. And Lancashire, we'll talk about him in a minute. But do you think that he's seriously looking at some of the squad? Or do you think he's already made up his mind who he has to get rid of? And there's no going back from that?
I think he'll want to see some of them in pre-season, definitely. And I think you can almost ignore last season, because last season was like a different kind of De Zerbi football. It's not going to be the same. We're going to be a completely different team this season for sure. So I'd be interested in these first 2 pre-season games. I think there are some players that have got a big chance to impress him. I think the ones that should be out to impress him will be the ones you mentioned there, Mikey Moore. I feel like with Mikey Moore, there were times last season where if he'd have stayed with us, he'd have been starting Premier League games for us. So you never know. Everyone is expecting him to go on loan, but you never know. If he catches fire in pre-season, maybe De Zerbi just thinks, you know what, I'm just going to give this guy, he is that good. I think he can be that good. I'd still rather sign a left winger and then, chance her arm on him next season. But still, you never know with Mikey Moore. He could catch fire in pre-season. The same with Will Lancashire. He could also catch fire in pre-season. I know we're going to talk about him in a minute because there's been some news on him today. But I think, the rest of the squad, the problem is, I think when you talk about De Zerbi's biggest challenge is our attacking players. A lot of them are injured still. Odegaard injured, Xavi injured, Kulusevski, we don't know where he's going to be. Kudus coming back from a big injury. So, there's going to be a lot of, last season, we were down to the absolute bare bones when he had to play Muani and then Richarlison and Tellin every game because he only had 3 fit players left. So there's a chance for some of those players to come back. I'd be really interested to see what happens with Maddison, Kulusevski and these guys, whether they're fit or not. But I think our biggest challenge is we just don't have enough goals in the team, particularly with and some of those injured players come back. We just don't have that many prolific goal scorers. So I think that's going to be our biggest challenge, is making us score goals.
Yeah, I mean, look, with Mikey Moore, for example, I mean, I think for him, it was the making of him going up to Glasgow Rangers. Getting.
I think if he went to Dortmund, that'd be brilliant for him, wouldn't it? If he went to Dortmund,
it would. But the only thing with Dortmund is they 100%, having spoken to some people, that they want a buy option, and Spurs will not entertain a buy option. And I don't really blame them. But for a young 17, just turned 18-year-old kid to go up to Rangers and get the abuse and get the blame for the Rangers performing so badly was unbelievable. I couldn't quite believe it. But then Danny
Rose around and then their player of the season, didn't he? So
yeah, I mean, that is mental strength. We talk about watching England and mental strength, but I think for a kid of that age to play in that furnace that is Scotland, the Rangers Celtic games, I think he's come out of that a much stronger player. And I think I can only hold him in good stead, that when he actually goes and he's in training right now, that he's not fearful of showing De Zerbi exactly what he can do. Will Langshire, on the other hand, look, I am
interesting. This one, isn't it? Quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know what about what you think about this. I personally, I'm a big fan of his, Billy. Yeah. When we signed him from Sheffield United, thanks to Parachichi managing to convince Levy to cough up 2 million for a kid, I think it's going to be money well spent. What I like about him, and I've always liked about him, he's got the build of a butterfly swimmer, broad shoulders, can hold up the ball. He can do everything. But the two things I love about him, he has great football IQ, really good football IQ, knows when to arrive in the box, a bit like Lineker. Yeah. Timing is everything. When you're playing for a team like Oxford, to score that, to get those stats was amazing. But it wasn't just that; it was almost Kane-esque. Some of the drop the shoulder and bang one into the top corner. And I'm actually excited about him. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I feel the same, and I think he'll have a big chance in pre-season to really, save his future at Tottenham, because I know there's been a couple of rumours today that people are offering him out for money, and there's some that saying that that's not true, and it is true. And we don't know for sure on that, but there's conflicting reports there. I think if he starts against MK Dons in midweek, and then he gets a game in New Zealand and Australia, gets a goal, then I think he's got a chance for us, because we're really, really lacking in goals. And I know it's crazy to compare any young player to Harry Kane, who's one of the best strikers the game will ever see. But he really did. Some of those goals for Oxford last season really did make me think of Harry Kane. And there's not much more of a compliment than that.
I was getting when I actually mentioned it, they were going, Johnny, calm down, mate, calm down. No, like
there's really... that one. I think it was on the last game of the season, wasn't it? Where he dropped the shot and smashed it in, proper. Yeah, that was proper Kane levels.
But I mean, the fact that there's rumoured to be bid from Sporting Lisbon and Southampton and a couple of others. But for me, I'll tell you what I'm worried about. If I'm brutally honest, right? I love De Zerbi. I love that he's given the players hope. He's given the fans hope. He's got the board believing that they're coughing up the money. But I just feel like sometimes you need a lid on it. Like, for example, I wouldn't give my missus my credit card and say, like, go to Selfridges, here's the card, right? Go and buy what you want. I would be sort of saying, look, I'll come along and look, that's great. But if you look to that one, I just worry, because I believe our sporting director is an incompetent, okay, that he doesn't have that scouting nous, that to turn around to maybe to De Zerbi and say, you know what, Savinho, we've been watching Savinho all this time, but really, do you know what? There's another player out there that I think could be just as good. That could be something, and I just think that if he's allowed to sell Bergvall, Lancashire, and all these go, and with his
already told Vuskovic,
and like I'm not trying to be negative here because I'm trying to stay in a positive frame of mind. But at the same time, in the back of my head, I know the guy doesn't stay more than a year, 18 months, right? Yeah. So, should we be saying, look, Roberto, yeah, but no, we need to keep some of these kids. We want to be in Europe next year. So if we want to be in Europe next year, what are we doing? Getting rid of what will be our club-trained player, which we've been short of. I mean, that's one thing we struggle with, right?
And Bergvall will go down as that as well, won't he? Next season.
Exactly. So should it all be about money? Should it all be, or should it be about? I know here people say I'm not interested in the future. I'm interested in the now. But oven ready becomes overcooked, right? And if you've got nothing to put in the oven to cook, right, then you're in trouble. It's like a balance across the board, like a conveyor belt,
I think it's about finding the balance, and I am a little bit. I'm not worried about De Zerbi because he has earned the right, but I think the worry is that we should have a really strong sporting director in place right now who's being able to say, look, De Zerbi, you can do this and this with the first team. I'm going to sort out for the future, and we'll work together. At the moment, it just seems like we're getting rid of almost everybody and saying and we're just going to worry about next season. The problem is, when Europe comes along next season, suddenly we've got an awful lot to do next transfer window because we've got no homegrown players, we've got no club trained players. And
exactly.
It just seems a bit short term thinking. And I think, the very best clubs have got a balance of both. If you look at Arsenal, they've got academy players in their team. Man City have got academy players in their team. You need to be able to balance both. And I'm worried we're going too far the other way. I'm exactly like De Zerbi and everyone else. I think we do need to concentrate more on the here and now, and we've gone way too far the other way. But at the same time, we don't want to throw the baby out the bathwater and just get rid of all of our young players just because we want to do well next season. Because once we get into Europe and we have strict spending rules and all that kind of thing, someone like Bergvall could be really, really useful, or someone like Lancashire could be really, really useful when we've got club trained players. So what I hope is that we get the sporting director in very quickly, this new sporting director, because we need a balance. And the idea of a manager running a football club like this just doesn't really happen anymore. It's not
unheard of.
It's unheard of, yeah. So we're gambling here big time. And let's be honest, if anything goes wrong with De Zerbi, he'll walk. He doesn't care about long-term future or anything like that. He just walks. He walked with his last two jobs. He's not one of those people that sticks around for a payout. He'll just go, say, see you later. And then suddenly we're left with no youth and no future. So I think we've got to find the balance. I'm not saying it in a negative way like you. I think like you weren't either. I just think it's about finding the right balance. And for example, a player who I thought was absolutely unbelievable last night in Jed Spence. I can't believe we're thinking of selling him. Like, what? I think he should be starting for us. He was man of the match in a World Cup semi-final. We cannot be selling this guy.
That challenge last night.
Yeah.
That tackle.
I'd start him left back. Sorry, I think he's better than you, Doggy, at this point. Players do get better. We're seeing the best version of Jed Spence right now. Think how buzzing he's going to be coming after that World Cup, where he's proved the whole nation wrong. He's going to be absolutely flying. So for me, it's going to say, look, Jed, you're not going anywhere. We're going to start you at left back. There you go. Bosh.
Confidence breeds confidence, right?
Yep.
This is a guy.
He's a confidence player. He's a big confidence player.
Yeah. Confident. He came to this club, and whether you guys want to listen to it or not, I mean, I know I've been flying solo with this for quite a long time, but, Conte didn't even look at him. Right, they had falling out with something. Get out the club and not even looking at him. The family went mad, and rightly so. His whole career suddenly, this is my dream. His mum's a massive Spurs fan. This is exciting, and then he's discarded. Right, he's come back the hard way, and I think Tuchel has. Well, I know Tuchel's given him the confidence to use his pace and power, believe in that pace and power, because ultimately. He's a marauding right back. That's the player that was at Middlesbrough. That's the player that was at Forest. And he's had to adapt his game. There's no understanding of that from the fan base, that he's playing on the left side. There's no understanding that he's had to develop the weaker part of his game. How many players do you see in the Premier League, Billy, who have only got one foot? They've got no interest. Yeah. Oh, I'm elite on my left. Or my right, I've got no interest. Harry Kane is not that player because he's worked on his weaker parts of his game. And what Jed has done, he's worked on that left side. And the one missing component that was missing from that was the attacking third on the left-hand side, which he's not been good enough at. But we saw in that World Cup that he's given him the belief to push on and give something to his game. And like last night, he was absolutely superb.
Best player on the pitch until the last 10 minutes, and when Messi took over. But unbelievable, mate. I thought he was absolutely unbelievable, and I think the confidence going into it now, and I think the way that he's playing in the last 3 England games is better than a new doggy at the moment. And new doggy, the problem is, I love you doggy, but he can't stay fit. That guy. Look at that picture there. I mean, you know how I know he had a good game. He got Messi's shirt at the end of it, so I think there's a bit of respect there from Messi. And when Messi respects you, how can Tottenham not respect you?
Yeah, that's a big thing. I'm glad you brought that up. I posted that on my Insta. I mean, that was, his sister just put fairs right at the end of the day. Well, I actually don't even know if anyone's noticed the fact that Jed was actually fouled by Messi in the build-up to the goal.
He trod on his foot, didn't he?
Yeah, trod on his foot. And he went down. And Jed actually...
There's that video. I don't know if you've seen that video of Messi skinning 3 players, including Harry Kane. But Jed actually, that move starts by Jed actually tackling him as well. So I think Messi probably thought, actually, do you know what? This guy's got to be pretty good.
Yeah.
And then he absolutely skins Harry Kane after that, Messi.
What I don't understand, is all this, the clamour to sell Jed. And I say to people, oh, no, we need to sell him. We'll sell him while the value is at the highest point. This is what we've got to do right now. But I asked the question, okay, so you sell him for who? I said, Er's not available. So who are you putting up? Yeah. And of course, now they're saying Neco Williams. Forget Neco Williams. Neco Williams signed a contract last year, a brand new contract, and then they put another new contract at the end.
Sign that, doesn't he, as well? Yeah.
Yeah, and so I just don't understand what's wrong with our fans. I love our fans. I love this club, but sometimes I'm mystified. We've got one player representing England. If you take away Harry Kane, right?
And he's arguably England's best player as well.
He's been arguably England's best player, and yet half the fan base can't wait to sell him.
And I just think, it's so rare to have a player that can literally play both sides of that as well. And I actually think after the World Cup, he might even be a better left back at the moment. He's playing a better left back than he is a right back these days, isn't he? But yeah, I thought he was brilliant for England. And last night in particular, I mean, if that had finished 1-0, he would have been man of the match. He would have ended the man of the match. He was 5 minutes away from ending the semi-final as man of the match. So I think it was only really him and Bellingham and maybe Anderson that turned up for England last night. So that doesn't tell you, And people tell about his value. Well, I've seen us, saying that we want 35 million for him. I think he's worth double that at the moment. How can an England starting player, we know how much English tax goes for, and Elliot Anderson's gone for 120 million. How can someone who starts a semi-final go for 35 million? You're having a laugh. I think you'll be at least 50 million to start a conversation, at least. And I wouldn't even sell him for that.
No, I wouldn't, because, who are we replacing him with?
And what he's got is so rare as well. That athleticism. It means the fastest player in England squad. He said that, didn't he?
Correct.
His athleticism is so rare.
Yeah. He's using the attributes that God gave him, right, to best effect. And he's got over the sort of chip of having to play on the weaker side. If he was to play on the right, if Porro got injured, it would take him 4 or 5 games to get up to speed to get him playing on the right side again, because it's been such a long time. But, to sell, I mean, it would be galling to sell him full stop, but to sell him to Marinakis, I mean, to have him buy, could you imagine a scenario where Marinakis has bought him and it's not going to happen now because it's Neco Williams, but I don't even want to sell Bergvall to Marinakis.
Yeah. Well, unless they give us Gibbs White in return, and they can do one, to be honest.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, if Bergvall goes out, do you see someone else coming in for him, or is that just a make weight to pay for Savinho?
It'd be interesting, because obviously our midfield options would then be Fernandes, Tonali, Bentancur, Gallagher, Gray, which is probably enough. So I wouldn't see anyone coming in necessarily for Bergvall. But again, I just think, I think the problem is with Bergwijn, he's got so much potential that if you sold him and then he could go and become an absolutely unbelievable midfielder, and then you're thinking, oh my God, why have we done that? So I'd be a little bit. I'd much rather he went on loan somewhere, Bergwijn. I have to say, I'm not really. I'd rather he went on loan somewhere because he's homegrown next season anyway, so he'd be able to play in our Europe League squad. So when we signed him, we bought him under the nose of Barcelona, and let's not forget he had an unbelievable first season. He was rubbish last season. Well, he wasn't rubbish. He struggled last season, but all of our players struggled last season. So
why did he
be really careful getting rid of everyone?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Billy, right? Context is everything. I always think, you make a statement, okay? He was our player of the season. Last season, okay, what did he have? He had concussion, he had 2 injuries and 3 managers for a young kid. Come on, guys, you know, let's give it context. And then he couldn't get in. It's stop, start. Most of that squad had a bad season last season. I don't hear the same narrative for these guys, right? What I know, he's 6'2". He's got fantastic peripheral vision. He's great in the air. We saw that fantastic goal he scored against West Ham with that through ball from, I can't even mention his name at the moment because he's pissed me off that much. He has something about him. He's pass and move. I remember watching his very first game, QPR, friendly, pre-season when we signed him. And I was getting up and I was applauding like how good this kid looked. And, we fight off Barcelona. We laud how fantastic it is that, young players are choosing us over Barcelona and hailing it. And here we are at the first choice that someone's looking to sell him. If for me, if we're selling anyone at all, we should be selling Papa Sarr, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sarr's got to go this summer. Which is a shame because I love Sarr, but it's not worked out for him. This last season he struggled as well, and he looked really good for the opening pre-season. But I think it's time for him to move on. And when you've just got Fernandez, Tonali, Bentancur, and Gray, and Gallagher, and all these players ahead of you, I don't think Sarr's going to get a look in next season whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, if Forest return with a 50 million bid, so do Spurs still say no, or do we just? I mean,
I think they're going to accept it. I think they will accept it.
Well,
I hope that they do a Vuskovic and get like a clause on there, either a sell-on or a matching clause like they got with Vuskovic would be good because he's the kind of player that you could easily see him turn into an 80, 90 million player in a few years' time. And then everyone's going, why on earth did Spurs sell Bergwijn?
Well, that's what I don't understand. This is what I don't understand, Billy. Why did you win the race? Because you saw exceptional talent, just like they did with Vuskovic. And so what? Vuskovic goes for 100 million, we get an extra 10 because it's not 20%, guys, on the fee. It's 20% on the profit. Okay, so he would have to go for 20 million for 100 million for us to get, if he sold for 50, to get an extra 10. We could have got 60 million. Great. It's how you utilize that money. Spurs have had a history of getting Modric money, Bale money, Kane money, and washing it down the toilet. And I just hope that if we end up with a small net spend, that we still end up with quality players. That's what I'm hoping anyway.
Yeah, I hope the same. And if we do sell Bergwijn, that's another 50 million. Plus, you're probably going to get a 30, 40 for Romero. You're going to get something for Richarlison. If Richarlison goes, if Spence goes, we're going to end up making 300 million in sales. So, and we haven't even spent anything. So then we need to go. Then we'd have to get a serious striker if we do get rid of all these players.
Do you think they've looked at eBay FC, otherwise known as Chelsea?
Yeah, that's what I do think. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I mean, said, well, look at their model there. All they're doing is they're buying, they're selling. We'll buy the kid, we're selling. I had a rule: never fall in love with a loanee. Unfortunately, I fell in love with Paulinho. Why? Because he was everything I want with one of my Spurs players: heart, drive, passion. Relating to fans, he had everything. But I realised, you can't have everything you want. He had to go. It's going to be galling if he ends up at Aston Villa. But yeah, I would rather he went back to Sporting. But
yeah, I think there's two things. We do need to be more ruthless. we haven't done in the past. But at the same time, you don't want to get rid of every single player that you've got just to be ruthless. You know, we do need to keep some of these guys.
So who would you sell right now?
Sarr has got to go. Sarr would be gone. Romano, I think, is going to go as well. That's another player that's going to go. And once you get past that, there's not really much you can do, is it? Because most of our other players are coming back from injury, aren't they? So I think
we have to sell him after this shenanigans last night.
Yeah.
I mean, really, honestly, mate. I mean, that just sums up the idiot that he is, right? Okay, you want to stand there. You play in England, right?
You get paid by England.
Yeah, and you want to hold up that. That sign, okay?
He's gone. He's gone. And Lascelles as well, who also made an absolute fortune in England after barely kicking a bloody football for him.
Yeah, I didn't see whether I didn't even want to look if Senesi was holding it up. I don't know. You just come to a club and already you're pissing off most of the fan base. But look, Kuti, again, is another thing. You know, what are we talking about with the fee? I hear stupid numbers. Like we need to get him.
Last night, he was unbelievable again. In another massive World Cup game, he's the best defender on the pitch.
That move last night with his feet. I mean, that was like, man, where is that for Spurs? We're used to the kamikaze version of him. But he's got to be. I can't see a world in where he's less than 50 million.
Yeah, and that's a minimum as well. I know that people are talking about 35 million for him and stuff, but he's a centre back for what could be the back-to-back world champions. He signed a new contract last summer. What are we doing? This is a £50 million player at the very least. I mean, Van Hecker went for 50 million in the last year of his contract.
Listen, I mean, look. We've discussed which position we still think is the biggest weakness at the club. I think we all know it's the left side and striker.
Yeah.
And that's why I want Krupi, because, you know, I like you, I'm not sure about Maddison when he's going to come back. I don't know if Kulu's ever going to come back. So I don't feel like, you know, from a creative point of view, Simmons is out for probably till most of this coming season. So for me, getting Krupi would allow him to sit in that position if Maddison can't play more than, I don't know, 15, 20 games. I don't know. I'd love it if he could play a whole season, but he never has in his career. And I can't see whether he started already, whether he's going to do, 90 minutes or be able to play more than 20 games. But Spurs, do you think Spurs have closed the gap on, your Newcastle, your Liverpools and your Villas?
Yeah.
Man United.
I do. I think they definitely closed the gap. But remember, the gap was so big is the problem. Definitely, I think they bought a real quality midfield, without a doubt. They bought a quality defence. Now it's just they need to sort the attacking. At the moment, it's like that picture of the horse, isn't it? Where the body of the horse is drawn amazing and the head is terrible. We now need to sort the attack out. So
100%.
It's all for nothing.
I mean, looking at that.
There's probably only two. I'd say probably two midfields in the Premier League that are definitely better than it, and that's Man City and Arsenal. So I'd take them three over anyone else, really, other than Anderson, Anderson, Cherky, and that lot, and Rice and that lot. But for me, that's a Champions League midfield. We've got a Champions League defence now with Senesi, Van Hecker, all those guys coming in, Van der Ven, Porro. I mean, look how good bloody Porro is at the moment, for God's sake. And then we just need that. We need to sort the front three out because it's a big.
It's a shit show,
isn't it? Yeah.
It's a shit show.
Don't forget, in the last 4 seasons, we've gone from one of the best the league's ever seen in Kane and Son to what we've got now. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Really.
What's really upset me, and this is why you need a succession plan like Brighton have, like Bournemouth have. You look at Pinto at Bournemouth. Every player that he's sold, he's had a fantastic succession plan.
By the way, that would be my number one signing this summer is Pinto. That would be it.
Mine as well. You and I were aligned, mate. Yeah. We are aligned. Yeah,
you've just seen him sign bloody Silva from Benfica, hasn't he, as well?
Yeah. He's unbelievable. Yeah, we'll sell you Solanke, and we'll buy Evan Nilsson, Croupy Jr. We'll
Rayan in January.
Yeah, Rayan.
Gets rid of Semenyo, gets Rayan in. It's just like, they sold 5 of their back 4 last season, and they had their Premier League finish.
Sabani, Hoyson, Zabani, Kirkes, and the thing is, what he's done, he's signed players. And this is why what you're saying, and what I totally agree with, is how important the sporting director is. He's not against the manager. His job is to work in tandem with the manager and give the manager exactly what he wants. And listen, with the greatest will in the world, to Roberto De Zerbi and to any manager, their task is to watch their players, to work out and spend their time worrying about their squad. It's the director of football's job to find the talent to suit the manager. And as soon as Iraola was out that door, it didn't take very long for him to have identified Marco Rose to come in. And
he's a very, very competent guy, that guy.
Exactly. And people will say, oh, he's going to fail. Right, he's going to fail. So, no, he's not, because they already have a plan of succession. And I just feel that, if we are to progress and to give this guy exactly what he wants, and I want to give him what he wants, but tempered with the fact that, we have to sometimes say, Roberto, mate, no, absolutely not. You know what? I was looking at, when we're looking at this midfield, the 2 we bought this season, I think they are 2 of the best 3 that were available.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, who else would? I mean, Anderson tonight. All right, maybe Bruno. Bruno would have been there as well.
Available. That's remains to be seen, won't it? Yeah.
Let's hope he's not, eh?
Yeah.
Let's hope he's not. But I do worry that we don't. Matthias, tell me a story, mate. Tell me a story on this one. Guys, while you're here, before he answers that, please hit the like and the subscribe button. And if you're here for the first time, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to let you know when we're going to be going live. One big up to Billy for joining us. I know there's a lot of streams going on right now, so those of you who are here, I really appreciate the support, and you've been showing your love to me over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I really appreciate it as well, to Billy for coming on. Matthias, are you all in? Are you not sure? It's a difficult one.
I'm not all in, but I think he's an absolutely fine backup winger. What he cannot be is a starting winger, which he was last season for us. No fault of his own. He's got very good mentality and heart, that guy, but you need more, don't you? You need goals and assists, and you need, we've gone, again, like we said earlier, you've gone from having Son, who scores your minimum 15, 20 goals a season, to Tell, who's going to get about 4 or 5. So he's got to get better. I think he'd be absolutely fine if we had another winger. Like if we had a starting winger, like a Savinho, and Taylor's coming off the bench and starting, some games, and it'd be fine. But he's not a starting winger yet. Don't forget, Taylor's very, very young. He's about the same age as Mikey Moore, isn't he? He's only a bit older than Mikey Moore. He's a very, very young player because he's done a lot in his career. People think that he's a lot older than he is. He's a very, very young player, Tal. So he's got plenty of time.
Just hi, Jay. Welcome aboard. Better late than never.
Apologies on my tardiness. I was extended on a previous stream, but he's here now. And he's wonderful. How are we this evening, gentlemen?
Yeah, all good. You've popped in at the conversation of Matthias Tell. I think Matthias Tell got a hard ride last year, guys, because
he played way more than he was expecting, I imagine.
Oh yeah. I think people needed to give him an easy ride. I mean, I think the fact that we were in such dire straits that he was getting unnecessary abuse. But the truth of the matter is, in a season where we would have had a decent left winger, he would have been coming on and impacting for 15, 20 minutes, and maybe, learning the game. This way he's thrown in at the deep end, warts and all his faults and failings exposed. And that's all anyone could talk about, really, about his lack of this, his lack of that, and his lack of a final ball. And I felt it was a bit unfortunate, if I'm honest. And I hope if he does stay, that he gets the opportunity to prove everyone wrong, just like Jed. Jay, thoughts on Tel?
You know what? Like, I think he's a good, like, just one thing on in terms of like him as a player and things. I always think that young players, especially the ones that we sign, they get certain promises made to them when they sign. We're going to give you X amount of game time. We're going to play you this much, blah, blah, blah. And I think Tel I reckon he played less than he thought he was going to, actually. I feel like if you look at his kind of demeanor with Thomas Frank and things like that, it's like they weren't really. I think personally he was thinking, I was looking for a little bit more game time. If I look at him as a player and where he's at the moment, I think he needs development. He did contribute, if you think about the goal against Leeds, the cross against Villa, he had moments where he contributed. He's not efficient, I think is a big thing. You look at how many of his dribbles end up, getting tackled, or how many of his dribbles end up like with a bad cross or bad decision. But he's busy, and I think he affects the game. Like he's starting to affect the game. Maybe not always as positively as he would like. I think a lot of the time when we compare our young players with other young players, we kind of use their greatest hits versus our everyday
YouTube greatest hits, you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Hits. Just, you know what I mean?
So even I would look amazing for 30 seconds,
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. So, when you look at all these other wingers and things like that, these young wingers, I think they would have equal growing pains. They would have similar issues. I think him being a number 2 or getting good minutes behind an established first team player, I do wonder whether it's better to get like a Gakpo, who can actually be somebody who, because I think if Savinho comes in, Tel's looking at him and being like, why are you above me? Do you know what I mean? I feel like he looks at him more of a peer rather than somebody that's more established than him.
He's only a year older, you mean? Because he's only
exactly.
a year older.
Yeah, they're almost like age mates and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see what that looks like if it's Savinho, whether he's going to be the starting left winger, whether Savinho starts on the right and Kudus is going to, be eased in and it's Savinho Tel, whether we buy someone else. So I think Tel, I like the player. I think he's got a lot of upside, but I think it's a little bit of like, how long does it take for him to show us what we need to see from the player for him to be, a priority player or an important player for us? It's that trade-off to me of like, if it takes 2 years for him to fulfill his talent, are we going to wait 2 years for him to fulfill his talent, or are we going to ask somebody else to come in and plug and play?
That's what we did. Sure. That's what Bayern Munich did. They weren't prepared to wait to see his talent, right? They were interested in buying Elise. They went for Other and Ready. They had no interest. Oh, you want to buy Matches Tel? Oh, no problem, mate. Thank you very much. Roll up. How much you giving us? Thank you very much. Listen, I'm quite prepared for him to wait behind. I'm in your camp in the sense of Savinho isn't my first choice. I'll be brutally honest with you, he isn't. But I hope he's successful. I really do. I just because I don't want him doesn't mean that I want him to fail like some fans seem to strangely want to do. But like you say, it's only a year between them. Is there a massive difference at their end product at the moment? I really don't know. I think Savinho's bar is much higher. His ceiling is much higher than what Tel's showing us at the moment. Okay, Tel has not shown us that form that he had at Bayern Munich when he burst onto the scene in that debut season. Whether it's a lack of confidence, I'm not sure. But with Spurs, it's all about pathways, and we spoke before about Mikey Moore. And let's be honest, if you've got Savinho and you've got Tell and you're trying to develop Tell, where does Mikey Moore fit into all of this? Even next season, are we going to see another player? I'm very much for the now, but also, I would rather have a Mikey Moore come in next season and sit behind a Savinho than a Matthias Tell. Maybe it's romantic notion of mine that's how I feel, but because I don't feel like I have any draw to Matthias Tell like I have maybe with Bergvall or Archie Gray or some of the others. What are your thoughts, Bill?
Yeah. And I mean, I felt the same last season. I really, I know he had a fantastic loan. I'm glad he was there, but I do kind of wonder if Mikey Moore was around the squad last season, he would have played a lot of Premier League games. So, I mean, I'm always in favour of academy players just because, long term, that's what we need. And I think Tottenham cannot afford to fail Mikey Moore because he's one of the best that we've had in a long time. And if we fail Mikey Moore and Luca Williams-Barnett, then, what is the academy doing? If those two can't make it, then who's ever going to make it? Do you know what I mean? That's what I feel like with them too. So I think we've really got to prioritise making Mikey Moore make it. And, it'd be interesting to see what happens. But I got to run, chaps, but I'll speak to you guys soon. And
Billy, thanks very much for coming on, buddy. Appreciate it. And I will see you soon. Cheers, buddy. I was going to ask you, Jay, hang on, let's get back to this one here. I was going to ask you, who would you say you thought that would benefit the most from De Zerbi this season? Existing squad member. You're muted. You mute yourself.
Who's gonna benefit the most from De Zerbi? I'm gonna say I think Kudus potentially could really do a lot. I think
I agree.
when you have a systemized manager, when you have a manager who can like position players and have things, it's almost like education for the players. They're going to learn how to play in different zones, decision making. We have an elite dribbler, so we almost need to understand how to use him in a way that benefits the team. And I think that De Zerbi's very good at developing players, like coaching players. So I like that kind of idea around it. I do think Gray as well.
He's bulked up a bit, isn't he? Have you seen
it?
it?
Yeah, a little bit. And I think he might even have a small growth spurt as well because he looks a little taller even. So I don't know if he's got a couple of inches, but Gray definitely. I think he's somebody that needs to. If you look at Gray and Moore, really, I think that those two really need to be in the squad as long-term players. Not necessarily next season, but the season after. Both of them should be getting meaningful minutes. So I think that's important. I don't necessarily like when I look at players that we sell from the academy, I don't really stress it because I almost think, okay, well, the job of an academy is to give a player a pathway in football.
It's all about the pathway.
Exactly. It's not necessarily a pathway at Tottenham. It's a pathway in football. So
it would be nice if it was at Spurs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously,
that's the whole idea of the game. It's like having the inside of your leg stroked. Oh, look, he looks fantastic. Looks fantastic. Oh, yeah, great. And then you find we've sold him down the road, and now he's performing. I mean, listen, Noni, right, was at Spurs. He could have been at Spurs. His end product shit, but he still could have. He still could have been at Spurs, and he didn't because there wasn't a pathway, even though we didn't have a great team.
Yeah, but by the same token, it's almost like I always say to people, do you know how good a player needs to be for me to regret it? There's literally been no player that Tottenham has sold in the last 20 years that I've regretted.
Harry Kane?
I mean, we had to. He had a year left on the contract. I didn't regret us selling him. As circumstance meant, I might have regret that we got to that stage that we needed to sell him and he didn't want to stay because of how we ran the club. But in terms of that decision at that moment, Bale wasn't my fault. I wasn't allowed. Walker, these are the money offset it. Obviously I missed Walker, but it wasn't oh my God. The player needs to almost be generational. We're talking KDB, Salah, Chelsea selling them that kind of level. And it's still, that I think people, let's look at Vuskovic. How good would he need to be for me to regret us selling him? Do you know what I mean? He'd have to be Van Dijk.
Well, he might be Van Dijk. He might be Van Dijk. He might be Van Dijk. Going back to what you were saying about Kudos, and you think, you was asked the question, who do you think could be the best player to improve under De Zerbi? And the reason why I agree with you with Kudos is the fact that under Thomas Frank, he was always the outball. He was the only guy that they were aiming for every single time. It was the outball to Kudos. And he got to the stage where there was twos up on him every single time. He had nowhere to go. If we have a situation where we have a top left winger, we have a top right winger, we have two unbelievable midfielders. In fact, three midfielders. If you look at this lot, right? Three top midfielders, and then we have two centre backs who create in Senesi and Van Hecke. There is plenty of players to keep others occupied. Occupying Kudos is not going to negate the midfield or the left wing or everything else that's going on. Last season, it was so easy to kill us. Cut off Kudos, that's the end of it. So he didn't really get the chance to shine bright as much as he probably could do. Yet he still, for most of the season until he got injured, was our main player.
So I mean, obviously, if you look at it as well from a confidence point of view, the team was pretty solid. In the 7 games that De Zerbi was there, so there's a pretty decent foundation. So like I'm looking at it from the point of view of saying, you're gonna have players like Fernandez, Maddison, Kudus as maybe more creative players, and then you can look at players like Tel, Solanke, what we've got at the moment from output. If you think about what we were able to do with even like Muani and Richie and all that sort of stuff, it wasn't super high level stuff, but we can create some chances. We have some discipline. We were playing Paulinho in the middle, so there was less progression, but now we're going to have more progression from the centre backs, things like that. So there's a good base level, I think, from a defensive and out of possession point of view, and the creative side from these guys is going to help a lot. But we need, like I've said this well, we need goals. Like Savinho,
massively.
Savinho, if we get him, he doesn't. I mean, maybe he scored goals at Girona, but he hasn't scored goals in the Prem, so we still lack goals. We really, really need goals. At the moment, I have us around 6th, 7th. About that.
As high as that, with Savinho or without him?
Let's say with. Let's say with.
I think we're 9, 8, 9 at the moment without a left winger and without a striker. At the moment,
if I look at it and say, okay, if it was like, if it was basically Tonali, if we started the Premier League tomorrow and it was Kudus right wing, Solanke up top, Tel left wing, Maddison in the hole, Fernandez, Tonali, I'd be like, all right, that's all right. We can work with this. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, it's
and
we
then
need more.
At the back, are you using so who are you leaving out at the back?
Senesi would be on the bench to start off with.
Senesi would be on the bench. You don't think there's any chance that he's going to play 3 at the back?
I mean, not at the moment. If he's going to sign 2 attackers, I think he'd be looking to use them. So, I mean, I don't. A preseason will let us know. I mean, at this point, it's just guesswork, isn't it? So, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, with like Senesi would play the middle centre back, which Van Hecke one side, and then Van der Ven on the other side. It could definitely work. I'm not saying that we wouldn't see benefits from that. And obviously, we've got 2 progressive passers. I remember he played Veltman quite a bit at right back when he was at Brighton. I don't know if he ever would consider Senesi playing as like a inverted left back or things like that. So there's other stuff he might try as the season starts. But I don't, Van der Ven's going to start. We've got 2 left backs, 3 if
Who's
you have
starting for
Spence.
us right back? Sorry to interrupt, but who's going to start?
Porro, obviously.
Well, I was going to ask because both of them, if you look at it, both of them are going to struggle because both of them are not going to be here for pre-season.
Yeah.
They're not going to be part of the tour, right? They're not going to be finished playing, either of them, until the 21st, right? 20th, 21st. They're going to go on holiday for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
When they're doing their pre-season. When's that happening? Right? So we're going to struggle. We could be struggling to name a Porro or because don't forget they've reached the peak. They've come off the edge. They pushed themselves to the edge. Is 2 weeks enough to then go pre-season and go again?
No. I'd imagine in that instance that Gray will probably start the season. And I think Gray will probably start at right back then in that instance. Or you never know, maybe Van Heck might play out there. Obviously, Spence and Porro should be out of action. Spence might be around because they'll probably both maybe miss the first fixture, you'd think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So who's playing? I was just asking Sean because welcome Sean. Welcome to everyone who's come over from Spurs Talk Show. Big up to everybody. Sean, we're just saying, with Pedro Porro and our new hero, our 2 new heroes at right back, left back, whichever position you want to put them in. The likelihood is that they're going to be away for probably 3 weeks. They're going to need a 3-week break, I would have thought, which would have taken them almost to the start of the season.
Yeah.
That would mean they wouldn't have gone and had a full pre-season. Where does that leave them? Who do you think should be starting in that position if you think that they're going to need that extra rest? It's been reported that Mikel Arteta is not going to...
In the preseason, who's going to start at right back?
No, I'm talking about, do you think both of them will be ready or one of them will be ready to play the first game of the season?
Oh, yeah. They'll be fine, mate. It's not like they're going to drop fitness in the next couple of weeks. They just need to go and and Pedro Porro is he's a machine.
He's a machine.
He doesn't stop, mate. Him going on holiday is going to a fucking fitness camp. He sleeps on a treadmill, that bloke. What are we doing here?
The
he's
thing is,
going down the beach. He takes one of those medicine balls down the beach with him and does some fucking crunches or where he's not like me, Johnny. He's not like me. He's like you go. Oh, I'm on holiday, am I?
Yeah, Magnum's on the beach. No, but look, what I worry about if we end up in a situation where we end up selling Jed Spence. Do you know what? Because I was watching the video before of pre-season, the training, pre-season conditioning, and all I could hear him was going, "Yes, Destiny, yes, Destiny," and I'm thinking, he's fallen in love with Destiny Udogie, right? Because that's all I kept hearing that name being repeated, and I'm thinking to myself, has he already ruled Jed out?
No, mate. Listen. Jed Spence has put himself on the map, bro.
100%.
Anyone I did like a eulogy, an apology, I gave him a hard time, Jed Spence.
Big up.
Yeah, no. I listen. He put himself on the map this World Cup. And I don't think a lot of people in world football would have really been aware of who Jed Spence was, but I think a lot of people in world football now. He's been a standout performer, and to get to the semi-final and to contribute the way he has in moments, to do that moment there. What a picture that is. Frame that. He should frame that one. I think I was said it on the last show, Johnny, I just did. I just feel like you have to bear in mind the consequences of getting that wrong. We just scored a goal. We were 1-0 up, and 2 minutes later, he's caught out of position, not through his own fault, but because of someone else's misplaced pass, right? And then we're getting transitioned on, and the geezer's got Simeone's got acres and acres of space, and this guy turns on the afterburners and shows Mickey van der Ven levels of recovery pace. And the guy's in the box, right? He's in the box. Jed Spence, I don't know whether it's subconscious or otherwise, or conscious, but he must be slightly aware as he's charging in at literally sprint speed. There's no slowing down to prepare himself. As he went into that tackle, if he gets that wrong, if he gets it wrong, it's a red card, it's a penalty, and then if England then go on to lose that game, he will be the fall guy. Regardless of what else happens for the next half an hour, it will be Jed Spence fucked England, right? If he gets it right, he saves a penalty, or he saves a guaranteed goal, or near enough a guaranteed goal, and then whatever else happens, happens. Now, Jed Spence isn't going to benefit to the same degree as he would have been punished had he got that wrong. But to do that at sprint speed was absolutely insane courage, bravery, determination, and explicit skill. And he should be absolutely celebrated and rewarded in the correct manner. And I think that 5 minutes ago or five days ago, no one was going to pay 40 million quid for Jed Spence. And there was an argument to say, is he necessary? We've got a lot of fullbacks at the football club, and what's he really done? But it wasn't just that one moment, Johnny. Earlier on in that game, on the left-hand side, he was taking players on with an absolute aplomb and just carving them open, carving open Argentina's right back like it was a can of baked beans. He has excelled himself, and he should be rightly commended. But unfortunately, the conversation today is all about Tuchel, and that's a fucking shame. And as I said in the show, Tuchel let him down more than he let anybody else in England down, because nobody else in an England shirt last night put on a performance like he did. And he got let down because today it's all about Tuchel and it's all about England letting themselves down again. And there's some people that are talking about Jed Spence, but everyone should be talking about Jed Spence. He was absolutely
100%. One person who was talking about Jed Spence was Lionel Messi, because Lionel Messi gave him his shirt after the game. And I think that endorsement that Lionel Messi identified his game.
Can I? Hold on. Let me just. Paul.
You're going to dial back, aren't you? Okay.
I just want to like listen. The game was basically. This is police coming for my take. The game was, I thought, the example of what Jed Spence is, because you look like, as well as he played, that winning goal. Okay, let's look at the winning goal. Okay,
when they stood on his foot. Hang on, when they stood on his foot.
Okay, when he stood on his foot, but the guy didn't stay down. The guy didn't say he was fouled. Yeah, gets up, and obviously, he's hobbling, things like that. Messi goes down the line, crosses in, score the winner. I look at it.
You shouldn't have to play act to get the VAR.
I'm saying he has to play out to get the VAR, or get up and get back to get.
He
get
got
back
a foot in. Remember when he stood his foot in?
No, because he's in the middle. You're either rolling around holding your foot, or you get up and get straight back to it.
Hey, but let me put this to you. Let me put this to you. If I think again, it comes into like what's in your mind in the second, right? Yeah. He's been fouled, but he's Jed Spence in the World Cup semi-final. He doesn't. The whistle hasn't gone.
Yeah,
he hasn't appealed for it. If he rolls around on the floor after the fact, like he realizes in a split second too late, then it's not going to be given. And then if it turns out it's not a foul, then the ball gets put in, and everyone's going, Jed Spence, you rolled around on the floor, mate. You stop play acting. Get up.
Listen, I'm merely saying, like in that instance, like I feel like the middle road he took, is the worst option. You either have to just suck it up and get straight out to it. And obviously O'Reilly's defending wasn't good anyway on that.
That's a momentary thing though, Jay, right? And to be honest, like you shouldn't have, like you've got VAR for a reason.
Correct.
Go back to the Egypt Argentina goal. And Egypt scored the greatest World Cup, one of the top 5 greatest World Cup goals ever, and it was ruled out because of something that was less than what happened to Jed Spence. And they rolled the tape back 60 seconds to find the foul to not give it. They didn't even look. They didn't show the replay on the camera. The goal was scored. Like, you shouldn't. I understand what you're saying. Like, you've got to play the game, but at the same time, the game shouldn't require you to play the game to get the VAR to look and see the foul. The fact that the foul wasn't given or reviewed that's a technology problem or a refereeing corruption issue. That shouldn't be on Jed Spence.
They were never looking.
I just want to say, first of all, I think Spence had a great tournament. Great for him. I think he's a better left back than he is right back. I think we've had these shows before. I said he's a better left back than he is right back. He's a touch of the Zambrotta type approach of how he plays it. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're inverted. I think this is a great time to sell him. I think is
I don't
is
get
value.
that. Hang on. Just 1 second, right? This is what I don't get, right?
Sure.
He's reached, right. The one thing he's not had is confidence. What's happened is he's gone to that World Cup, Jay, and what Tuchel said to him, and I know this for a fact, he's gone to him and said, I want you to use your pace and your power that you have. You have God-given attributes, use them. Have the confidence in your attributes, right? And use them. Drive into the space. Take them on. Something he hasn't done. It's the weakest part of his game. One-on-one defending, fantastic. Final third could be better without any doubt. But now we're just seeing that element of his game, what we've all been asking for to develop. We're seeing it on the world's best stage. And we're saying, yeah, we bumped up his price. Let's get rid of him. For who? For
Yeah,
who?
But the thing is context-wise, what you want versus what's right for the club at the moment in time. If we can get 40 million for Spence, right? I understand what people will be like. Okay, well, I don't want to sell players for the sake of selling them to just have to replace them. But Porro is the first choice right back. Okay. Now we've got Robertson, we've got Udogie, so we have 2 left backs. Would I put Spencer both? Would I put Spencer both some most? But it's irrelevant because how we built the squad. We got Souza as well. Like he's going to get a loan, but we've got 3 left backs. I like Spencer at left back. Arguably, I would play Spencer at left back above those 3 players. However, our squad building is not indicative of that. Our squad building is he's seen as a right back, and Porro is our first choice right back. So he's seen as a backup right back. Okay. So now I'm of the opinion, okay, if somebody wants to buy your backup right back for £40 million, why would you not seriously consider / do that deal?
So what do you do? So what do you do in the scenario where we always talk about this? If so-and-so gets injured, what is plan B, right? If our centre-back gets injured, we don't have a right centre-back. We don't have a left-sided centre-back. We have this conversation all the time. Here we got a situation where we've got a player that not only can be a starting left-back or a backup right-back or a starting right-back. Look, Porro hardly's ever injured, right? I grant you that. But it doesn't mean he's never going to be injured. Yeah. If we sell Jed and we don't have another right back coming in, because we're not going to get Neco Williams, right? He's going to sign a new contract.
Anderson.
Huh?
Anderson,
yeah, from Monaco. Yeah, I mean, but he's just come back from a massive injury as well. Can I just do this super chat? 1 second. Thanks very much to whole Spurs. Big up, mate. Big supporter of the channel. Really appreciate you. Sir Selberg foul to Fatty Knackers for 50 million. And the sooner we shift that embarrassment of a defender out the club, the better. He can't even say his name. I can't say his name. I refuse to say his name. Sorry, go on. I mean, this is why I can't say his name. What a wanker, mate. You're prying your trade in England, and you want to stand there with that sign that you absolute twat.
Yeah, he's a next Tuesday of the highest order, mate.
Well, yeah. But I do like this point on Spence, because this is, to me, I want to hear what Sean thinks, because I like Spencer play. I've been a big fan of him from Forest when he locked down Martinelli. I've been like, this guy's going to the top. Loved it when we signed him. I do genuinely look at it, and people can say, okay, well, let's look at the fullback market. Okay, so what is the most amount of money that a fullback's going for nowadays? Think of the highest fullback sale that you can think of recently.
Trying to think now.
Oh, Trent was free. Porro's probably the highest. Porro's probably the highest fullback trade in a long time. 45 million.
45 million.
Okay, so even when you look how much do they pay for Palestra? Not sure. The Real Madrid paid 40 for Correas, maybe less, 30 even. So when you actually look, when I say 40. When I say it, you're like, oh, but 40 is so high in comparison to how much fullbacks go for. Yeah, we're not even getting into
goalkeepers and fullbacks are nowhere near as appreciative in value.
Exactly. So if somebody is willing to pay 40 million for Jed Spence in a market that is depreciated, to me, it's very compelling to sell him, because there's almost like you could buy a lot of fullbacks for 40 million. You
Like
really
who?
could.
So I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot, Jay, and I hear your argument.
Yeah.
So all I'm asking is,
Yeah.
Well,
great.
you take Coyote from Brentford, right?
I would take him on a one season, yeah. And how much do you think they would ask for him?
I think they'd ask for about 50,
35 million.
Same money. Same money.
Yeah. Oh, I'd trade Spence for Coyote at right back.
Careful, Jay. You won't get the invite back if you piss Johnny
No,
off.
listen,
No, it's interesting. I like Cody.
My thing is that listen, when you finish 17th back to back, I love Tottenham Hotspur, but any bond I have to almost anybody in this squad, the bond I have for almost any player in this squad is almost non-existent at this point. There's almost like there's nobody at this club I can't make a rational argument to not sell.
Okay, let me make this argument to you then, Jay.
Sure.
Given Jed Spence's World Cup, given that he's homegrown, given his relative fitness problems are nothing in comparison to someone else, and given the fact that we've seen a new emerging talent in the guy with his confidence to take players on the left-hand side going forward, where he can cut open fullbacks with consummate ease, even with his right foot, and create value. Explain to me what difference there is between Jed Spence and Destiny Udogie. And when you think about Destiny Udogie is not homegrown, the fact that he's out injured, what is he? They call him the tampon, right? Like 1 week in, 3 weeks out, whatever it is, right? Like, what are we doing here? That being crass. Like, to me, is it not better to keep Jed Spence and his versatility and actually offload? If you have to sell one, sell Destiny Udogie.
I think angles like obviously Destiny's left-footed versus Jed being right-footed, and coming in a little bit. I think that changes.
But you have other left-footed. We've got 5 or 6 left backs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just you asked why keep Udogie, and I was like, okay, like footedness it might be a thing. Angles, like what the manager's looking for from that player.
Sure.
In terms of me personally, like I said, I'd make a good argument. Jed could arguably be the best left back we have at the club. Do you know what I mean? As in, I think there's decent evidence to support that. But it's not about what I want. Like, do you know what I mean? It's really about what's best for the football club and Jed as well. I don't want a Jed Spence who's not motivated, who's sat on the bench, who's backup. I don't think that's the best.
That's an issue. It's a very valid point. When you've come back from the high and you've been lauded, and then you come back down to earth, you come back to the stadium, and then hang on a minute, I can't get a game of football. Right, it's in
front of a guy that wouldn't even be first choice for his country, and his country didn't even qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah. I've got to say to you, I actually think that both Jed and Destiny, if he managed to stay fit, would be far better under a De Zerbi system. I think there's more chance of seeing a Destiny that we saw at Udinese. Right out on the hugging.
Is there not an argument, Johnny, that we have too many left backs, right? You've got Mickey van der Ven that could play there, that does play there for his country. You've got Sousa, who we've got no idea what talent level he's at. He's out on loan. We got Ben Davies. We have Robertson. We have Udogie, and we have Jed Spence. We have 6 left backs, and we only have 1 right back in Pedro Porro or Jed Spence, if you want to use him over there.
That's why you can't sell
Jed. Jay was just saying there's an argument to say that Jed Spence is the best left back of all of the other 5 anyway. Right? So for me, if you want to sell a fullback, I don't think you start with Jed Spence after the World Cup. I was okay with him leaving before, but the World Cup has changed my mind. I think he's been he is the emerging star from the World Cup. I know he's 25, but there's not that many other players that have really kind of come in with no reputation at all, and people questioning, why are you even there, bro?
Ridiculed.
Lewis Hall should have been here instead, or whoever else, right? And now everyone's going fucking fair play in a World Cup semi-final. Again, I don't want to hark on it, but I think it's important to recognise the courage and the bravery it took to do what he did in that one-on-one was absolutely insane, and to pull it off was phenomenal, right? And what he was doing in the first half down the left-hand side. So for me, I don't know what version of Jed Spence we have now. We might have a butterfly emerging from the cocoon, and I think that's something that you want to see for one more year before you just offlay him for 35 million quid to Everton or Inter. Inter ain't paying 50 million quid for
no chance, mate. No chance. No chance.
One thing as well, though, to consider is that obviously if De Zerbi wants left-footed left backs and right-footed right backs, and Archie Gray as well, like so profile-wise, you'd make an argument that Archie Gray profiles closer to Pedro Porro than Spence does.
Well, he can play it right back. He did do that for Leeds.
So if he wants to invert, if he wants to, he might look at Archie Gray and say, "Hey, you can get games here. Like I'm Porro's going to be missing. I see you as, and that's why I'm looking at this. When you have stocks, right? And I'm sure you guys have used stock markets, Bitcoin. People in the chat, the best time to cash in your stocks is when they're at the top. Yeah. Now I'm looking at this from the point of view of, to what extent would I regret us selling Jed Spence? I think he's a good player. I'll miss the player. I think he's a good lockdown merchant, stuff like that. But on the flip side, it's coming first. So busy day today. Yeah. I live near a police station.
You ain't coming in on streaming.
Hey, listen, when I bought the house, they didn't tell me it was near a police station. I probably should have done my due diligence, but still, either that or they're coming for me. But like, listen, when you look at Gray, right? And this is what I'm trying to look at logically is, if you look back, I'm not going to say this is 1-to-1, and people in the chat, you're entitled to say I'm talking nonsense. But remember Eric Dyer, yeah? And you remember in the moment, it felt, no, don't sell the player, yeah? Why are we selling the player? He can get better. I'm not trying to say Spence doesn't have, but I've seen it with Spence. Even over the last couple of years, he has a good period, and then he does drop off a little bit. Something changes. I think if we can get 40 to 45 million for him, and then we go and find a good backup right back who can play, I'm not gonna regret that. Do you know what I mean? I don't. It depends on who he's replaced with. I'm not gonna regret us selling him because the upside is not as high as I think you people. To me, his upside isn't as high as you guys think. I don't. I think it depends on game state, and if you want to be a dominant team, a front foot team, I think maybe he wants a different kind of profile.
You think he's peaked?
I think that what is the best, if you think about what's the best team that Jed could play for, like what's the best style of play, what's his position, what comes to mind?
De Zerbi ball.
No, not necessarily, because I don't think, because De Zerbi ball requires connections and frameworks and relationships, and I think the weakest part of Jedley King's character is his inability to create relationships. I don't think he had everything I see that he does which is like mesmerical, is moments of magic as an individual. I don't think he's a fantastic team player. I think that's I've always thought that, and nothing about his England performances has changed that. The things that he does are moments of him doing unbelievable things defensively or offensively by himself, rather than him connecting the dots and doing triangles and doing like one-to-one football, that sort of thing. And De Zerbi ball requires more possession-based stuff, which requires naturally chemistry and relationships. So I think that there's an argument to say that there's a better style of he could go and play for a transitional team in a fullback, in a wing-back role.
Yeah, listen, if we send him back to Forest, exactly, straight away. If we send him back to Forest, he'd feed families over there. Do you know what I mean? So,
he'd be insane under Glasner as a right wing back.
Under Glasner, he'd be
in Forest. He'd be absolutely insane.
You got to remember, he was successful. Spurs signed him as a marauding right back who got forward, bombed forward, hugged the touchline, picked up the ball, and drove forward. I just think that we're just seeing him, like Sean was saying, like the butterfly has emerged from what was.
I'll do one more season. And listen, Jay's point about selling stocks at their peak is absolutely fine, right? But what you don't 100%. Want to do is see Nvidia stock going up 200%, and you go, "That's a good return." And then see it fucking jump another 1,000% in your grid.
Listen, my space in AI stocks, I'm never going to financially recover at the moment. But I am going to say that if you look, and the point you're making is so good, because it's like, okay, well, if we're selling him now, I don't know how much more he's got to where he's. What am I going to see more of from this talent level? Maybe like a Hakimi type thing, and it's like just a marauding. I don't think he's touched.
Hakimi,
I'm in for that, mate. I'm in for that.
Superstar at 24. Hakimi got better as went on. What about Serhou Guirassy? If you sold Serhou Guirassy at 25, 2 million quid, bro, right? He didn't. That butterfly didn't emerge from the cocoon until he was 27. So some people are late bloomers.
You listen, I've what Sean just said there. I've had this conversation with my mate just the other day, where we was talking about the talents that come out early, your Jadon Sanchos, your Yao Felixes, and, you know, at 16, 17, 18, they're like unbelievable. They get caught up and everything, and then it sort of falls off of a cliff. And then you have your Jamie Vardys, you have these other players that come late and blossom late and find a way. There are players who leave academies, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, have to go down the leagues and somehow find their way up and then find that bloom later. And Sean's bang on, right? It's happened time and time again. And, you know, I just feel...
It might not be, though. It might not be.
It might not be, but to sell now...
One more season to see.
I agree. Let me just do this super chat. Big up to Hotspur, super sticker, choo-choo to you, Hotspurs. Hopefully we'll get to see you soon enough. Here's something that we all agree on. Dougie Freeman or the guy at Bournemouth, Pinto. We were talking about him before. We were saying before, guys, that we felt that the as good as he is, Roberto De Zerbi, he does need a lid on it. He does, I feel, need a director of football to turn around maybe and say, you know what? No, Roberto.
No to what? What have you disagreed with so far?
Well, no. I'm just saying, like, if he's like this Savinho, for example, as a starter, right? I'm not saying that's got to be the worst kept story in football. That we've been going on this one for like 18 months, but I'm talking about if he just turns around and he says, "I want player X," okay, and with the director of football. He can turn around. Look, De Zerbi's job is to focus on the players that he's got in his squad and get the best out of them and make them win matches. A director of football's job is to scout and find the next talent to suit the job, which is why Pinto's done such a good job at with Iriola. Keeps finding him the players to suit him and feeding him these players. And Iriola's happy to have them. And I would just like someone who's got a better talent ID than Johan Lang feeding Iriola is what I'm saying, because I'm not sure that he is. Let me just do a couple more super chats, guys. Sorry. Eureka KKK, thanks very much for the support. How are Italian clubs suddenly making big signings? Well, are they making big signings, Sean? Or are they making out that they'd like to make big signings? Like Inter Milan making an offer of 25 million for Jed Spence. I mean, come on. It's a piss take, no?
No, I mean, look, the European market doesn't work on the same. We're the sugar daddies of Europe, right? Like, if we sell a player to Europe, they expect to get a 30% discount. And if you buy a player from Europe, you expect to pay a 30% premium. It is what it is. But there's a big market out there. It's interesting, like Christoph Solis going to Arsenal today.
Don't even get me going on that one, because 35 million, Sean. He's an absolute baller.
More than that, wasn't it? I thought it was 60 million.
No, I think it was 35 million. That's what I saw.
Really?
Have a look. Have a look. And that's what I'm wondering, right? Christoph Solis from Club Bruges is an absolute baller. I've watched him like for the last 18 months, and I would have loved Spurs to sign him. Absolutely loved it. He keeps winning man of the match every time I managed to catch a glimpse of something. He's the star of the show. But how much is it saying for him on there?
Yeah, 40 million euros. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And we're looking at paying how much for Savinho?
Yeah, but you know what, though? Do you know what? Like, the year before Solis emerged at Bruges, there was a player there called Chemsdean Talby. And he had a better season than Solis did in terms of output. Well, I'm not sure about the output, but certainly the input. But he was fucking brilliant. He ended up going to Sunderland, and he didn't have a bad season. Talby, but he didn't like smash it out of the park. It's a massive step up, right? But I see people on Twitter a couple of weeks ago putting out the Talby, the Solis the Data MB polygon, right? And they were comparing like Solis to Gakpo and to Leao and everyone else. And it was like, and he was like right at the very outer edge, filling up that hexagon. And I was like, well, hang on a second. That's all well and good, but let's go and have a look at him when you remove the Belgium League and just look at the Champions League. And all of a sudden, it drops down to like a much more interior polygon. And that's because the standard in the Champions League is obviously harder and tougher against better teams, right? And so like you can sit there and go, I couldn't even tell you 10 teams in the Belgium League. I know Union St. Gauloise. I know the team that Vuskovic played for. There's a couple, right? But like, if you're going to play against teams that are essentially League One opposition all week, all season, and you're that good, you're going to be able to go and score hat-tricks galore, right? You're going to do all that stuff. But Chemsteen Talby was a fucking baller for Brugge 2 years ago, goes to Sunderland, and he's kind of a forgettable name. So 35, 40 million quid. I don't know. Like, it's a risk, but maybe it isn't.
I really like him.
Yeah, sure. I'm not saying he isn't a great player, but I'm just saying that it's a huge fucking step up from Bruges football, from Belgian football to the Premier League. Like normally they go somewhere else first, right? They go same with Dutch football. I mean, Santiago Jimenez smashed it at final.
Oh yeah, but he was but I never
smashed it.
But I never fell for Jimenez. I was like his mechanics were always a little bit off to me. But just one thing that you were saying, Sean, and you two mentioned about the like the director of football and stuff. I just wanted to say like Lang, I think can actually ID good players. I actually do think he can ID good players, but I don't think he has the charisma to pull the deals off. Yeah, but now we've got Rafi and De Zerbi. I think we've got a little bit more razzmatazz. I always did think when we were pitching to players, and it was a frank.
Can you imagine those two, Frank and Lang?
I have no idea how Kuda signed. Like, I actually have not. Like, he must. His desire to leave West Ham must have been greater than his desire to come to us.
Honestly, it's like being offered for breakfast, right? Do you want an all-white omelette, an all-white egg omelette, or do you want a fruit corner without the strawberry bit, just the yogurt? I don't want either. Okay, well that's all we've got to be able to persuade you to join us making our breakfast.
Like, all white omelette, piece of bread, and a glass of water.
Right. Bit of toast without butter.
They were
black tea. Black Earl Grey tea, no milk.
100%.
At least the Rafi Mawson, who was known as the closer at Man City, it was nice to see Peter Ribsdale at Preston come out and say, you know what, it's been a pleasure for once to deal with Tottenham Hotspur. Whether or not that sort of set the ball rolling, and other directors of football and club chairmen have noticed a change at Spurs. Hey, Spurs have got money. We can fleece them now. We can pull their pants down, as he likes to say.
I always like Chelsea's approach of being friends with everybody. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, because you want to, if you're selling to teams, you want them to like. Not 100%. Everything is like, and that's the problem with League. Everything was like a battle we had to win. Do you know what I mean? Like even like you have certain people you might even stream with, and you have a conversation, and they have to win. Sometimes that exists in the boardroom, and I think our approach now is very much like this is our fee. We want to have good relationships. We'll do you quid pro quo. We'll do you a little deal here. Remember this. Do us a deal down the line. Do you know what I mean? Like. It's just I look at even like Forest, yeah. If Bergvall goes Forest, I know Bergvall would never have gone Forest if Levy was still here. He would have been. He would have remembered. Exactly. He would have remembered what happened. He would have held the vendetta.
And that is absolutely stupid, right? Like you've only got 20 or 19 counterparties in the Premier League in any season who have got the access to the resources that no one else does. Like, and by the way, it's not like Marinakis did anything wrong.
Yeah, we did something wrong.
Of course we did, because if we didn't, we'd have taken them to court, right? So it was obviously us that were in the wrong, and yet 100%. So many Tottenham fans go, "Don't deal with Marinakis. He's that donut that made us not like lose out." No, we were the donuts that lost out on Morgan, right? Because we clearly. But either way, All right, you learn your lesson, you lick your wounds, and then you come back and go, okay, let's forget about that. Let's move forward. And maybe you get your revenge in the future. Maybe you don't. But ultimately, to sit there and go, I'm not going to deal with this guy because of something that happened last year, you're basically writing off 5% of your available market.
Crazy.
What do we do? Sorry, not him. What do we do? Do we keep or sell Bergvall? I mean, for me, you sell Papasar before you sell Bergvall, in my opinion.
I forgot about Papasar.
Yeah, because why would we look? Our aim is to try and get into Europe, and if we try to get into Europe, and that's our aim, do we want to fall foul? We're selling Jed Spence homegrown. We're selling Bergvall, who will be classed as homegrown. And then we're back into the same position as we were last time. Don't tell me it's okay. We'll think about it next year, because next year will come around. If we do what we feel like we should do and finish top 6, top 5, whatever, be in Europe, that we can't address the problem, because next season, if we are in Europe, we can only spend 70% of our income. And we would have to target homegrown players, which we would be paying a lot more for. I'm not for selling Bergvall. I'm okay with him going out on loan if he feels like he's not going to get any game time. But I think he will be sold, and I think he will go to Forest. Thoughts?
Yeah. Well, the only consideration I have with I don't care about Bergvall selling him naturally. Generally, I don't care. Like the right money is fine. The only thing I would say is that he's next season he'll qualify as a association trained. Same with Archie Gray, and I think that we're walking. Association trained is really important for the European League, right? And they're not. You can go and buy a homegrown player like that. There's millions of them, but association trained is not difficult. And so the only people that are association trained that are not that you would want back at the football club that are not currently at the football club are. On a real stretch, right? Kyle Walker-Peters, you don't want him. Harry Kane, you'd love him, but he's never, probably in all likelihood, not going to come back. Dennis Sirkin, I don't really want him. Is it not? Was Noni Madueke? Would he even qualify? I don't know if he would have qualified. Would he?
No, he was with us until he's 16. So I don't
think
sure
that even counts. Then I don't think he would even count, right?
No.
And then you got Harry Winks and Ollie Skip. So there's really no association trained players that you can go back to the market for that kind of. That you can fill up the quota with. And so selling Archie Gray or Bergvall a year before they would become association trained is madness. And so on that basis, unless you get a number that like is too good to refuse, I would say you shouldn't do it. And I would probably make the argument that we're still oversaturated in midfielders. And so I would say Jonny, and maybe if you have to sell another one, you sell Bentancur before you sell.
I was going to mention him next. Go on. So what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, Jonny, like, are you saying like, I just wanted to understand about the Bentancur thing, because my thing with players like Bentancur is like, you got to be really careful here, because the squad only barely finished 17th. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, if Bentancur doesn't come back from injury, we probably get relegated.
100%. He was a main component in the regeneration of the team. 100%.
So to me, I'm like, I don't see why the youngsters should get the benefit of that over the players that did it, if I'm being brutally honest.
Bentancur for me is miles above Gray and Bergvall in the pecking order.
100%.
Miles above. But the only argument I'm making is that if we get back into Europe next year, you get a squad of 25, but of the 8 people that are non-homegrown, 4 of them or 7, 4 of them have to be association trained. And at the moment, next season, that would include Gray, it would include Bergvall, it would include Austin, and it would include
Moore.
I'm not sure if there is a 4th, right?
Mikey Moore.
Oh, and Mikey Moore.
Yeah, because my logic would then be you get Austin, Moore, and Gray in next season's squad, and you just go one spotlight.
Okay, and that's fine. But is Mikey?
And I think that's very doable. And I think that's what
is Mikey Moore realistically going to have a career at Tottenham Hotspur?
He's not going to surrender his career.
That's spicy. Well, hold on, Jonny, you got to deal with Sean here for that.
Oh, listen, look,
I'm not going to get an invite back. I'm not going to get an invite back.
You'll always have an invite back. You both will. Listen, look, for me, look, I'm a massive Mikey Moore fan, but I'm also a fucking realist, right? And the truth of the matter is, pathways. If we sign Savinho and we keep Tell, where is the pathway for Mikey Moore?
I think he plays 10.
Well, I think he's a 10.
In front of who?
No, because Moore was playing like whenever I saw Rangers, he was playing in the 3-man midfield, in the 10, whatever.
He drifts in from the left. He can play on the left and drift inside. So
long term, if you've got him as a wing fielder, and he can be like a Rodgers and Eze, one of those kind of profiles, rather than pure winger.
But who's more advanced though, Jay? Mikey Moore? Is Mikey Moore? What makes better sense? Selling Mikey Moore for 25 or selling Bergwall for 40?
Selling Bergwall for 45.
You think Mikey Moore's got a bigger ceiling?
Comfortable for that fee. Oh my god! Oh my god! I was like, what? 25? I'm going to do the Sava thing here because I hate the phrase, but it's applicable. Based on what? Based on...
Oh my god, that was the best Sava.
That's good. Listen, Mikey Moore's 18. Mikey Moore's 18.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he's had Premier League minutes, Europa League minutes, good loan in Scotland. So 18, 19, we're going to see what time it is, right? Because you can look at Ethan at Arsenal and he's going through his trials and tribulations, but he is 18 years old. Yeah.
They might sell him. They might sell him. They're not going to sell Skelly. Ethan Nwaneri, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm just saying here now, if Mikey Moore, he now needs his breakout domestic loan. I don't mind him going to Germany, but I would much prefer him to have a breakout championship loan, a loan where he really like shows levels. Because Amad Diallo had a similar kind of pathway where he went Rangers and then he went Sunderland.
Correct, yeah.
And then he was ready.
And Malik Tillman as well. Malik Tillman did the same thing.
So for me, at 18 years old, he definitely has, next season, big season of development. You never know, he can do something in pre-season. He's 2 years younger than Bergwall. And for that reason alone, I'm not saying he's shown as much as Bergwall.
But you're suggesting that Mikey Moore with a season in the championship, and I don't know, I'm not educated enough, nor am I smart enough to understand how the association trained thing works, right? But are you saying so he's been at the
he's homegrown already. He's been here since he was a baby.
So he would count as association trained, even though he hasn't played a minute in the English at Tottenham for the last 3 years. He would be association trained.
Yeah, because he's been from the age of 15. He's been at Tottenham.
Okay, fine. Okay, cool. So on the basis of that's all fine. Yeah. Are you telling me then that you think 1 year in the championship and then he comes in and plays what role? Because you said play him in the 10, but it seems like Tottenham right now have got. Well, we've got Decky that can play there. We've got Maddison that can play there. We've got Xavi that can play there. Mm-hmm. And it looks like, for all intents and purposes, Tottenham are out in the market trying to find someone else, whether that's Morgan Rogers, whether that's Krupi, whether that's somebody else. We're not linked with any striker.
Kudus can play there as well.
Kudus can play there. We've got a lot of options there. Yeah. So is Mikey Moore, even if Mikey Moore is being brought back next season to fill up the association trained spot, is he really, and Johnny, you know his dad, is that family? Are they really going to sit there and go, yeah, okay, we've just had a great season at Dortmund, or we've had a great season at Rangers again, if that's where he goes back to, or if he goes to Coventry and sits on the bench for most of the season, but plays a little bit here and there, or if he goes to the Championship and smashes it. At what point does he come back to Tottenham and go, yeah, I'm after emerging out of my shell, just like Luka Vuskovic, right? And then they go, what? You want me to come and sit on the bench and never play a minute?
Listen, for me. No, look, for me, the first time I saw him, I thought he was special. I was at, one of the academy games, and I just jumped up and I shouted something, and someone told me to shut the fuck up, because I was so taken aback what I'd just seen. He was using his arms, aka sort of Gaza barrel chest, how he just drifted through the hips, using the hips to maneuver himself between the tackles and stuff. I've always thought him, always bigged him up. But the reality is that, his progression from in the mud at Rangers when he first got there because of a shit manager to turning it around and the adulation that he got and the Scottish Player of the Year. That's one part of his journey, the mental journey of coming back from the shit and going forward. I think he believes that his talent is far greater than sitting on the bench, right? But I also think he realises, he wants to play, he wants game time. There's no point coming to Spurs and sitting there and not getting any minutes. So I think another game time away on a loan is the clever option. But come next season, he will be ready, I believe. Next season, he will be ready. He will be coming up. He'll be 19, coming up 20. I reckon he'll be ready then to start to get game time. If there isn't a pathway, as much as he spent so much time at Spurs with Callum Oluwesi, they've come all the way through the academy together, it will be time to move on. And that will sadden me, but I think this is why, if you have a special talent, look, we know full well, Tim Sherwood said it, there could have been a scenario where Harry Kane never, ever played for Spurs, right? They wanted him to play no Goldado, right?
But the question is Mikey Moore going to be willing to come after if he has another good season wherever he goes this year?
No.
Is he going to want to come back and be a part of our squad where he's not going to play as many minutes as he did this season? So. Right. So then the association train thing isn't solved by him.
Well, no. What I would say is, look, if we were in Europe and he was going to play and he's going to be part of the squad and he's going to play minutes, yes. But if you're saying to me he's not going to get any minutes, then obviously not. But I believe that if we are in Europe, then, and Mikey Moore has had a good season, which I think he will have, being out on loan wherever he goes, I think he'll have a breakout season.
Who was the last Tottenham player that went out on loan and then became a part of our squad after that?
Well, I think Will Lancashire might be.
No, but who was the last one?
Harry Kane.
Again.
Oh, so 12 years ago.
Harry Kane. I'm trying to think of who else.
We have this idea of these players going out on loan coming back. But he ended up not being, right? So my point is, like Mikey Moore, I'll be honest, I don't see him playing at Tottenham. Not because I don't rate him, not because I don't think he's good enough, but just because, like, if you look at the tried and tested formula, the last player to go out on loan and then come back and play for Tottenham was Ollie Skip. And he played for a season or two, and then he got sent off to his standard. So
Skipping.
You might be right. You might be right. And let me just do this super chat. Whole Spurs again. Thanks so much, mate. Big support of the channel. Really appreciate it. My opinion, wing backs to get best out of Spence and Pedro strong enough for 3 at the back under Robert De Zerbi for 75% of Premier games. I don't think they're going to play 3 at the back this season. Do you guys?
No.
I mean, that would be the fantasy. But you think Senesi's come and just been told, well, you're quite happy to go and sit on the bench?
No, obviously not. But players are going to fight for their spot. Do you know what I mean? I always think it's always funny when we as fans are like, how dare we have multiple good players for a position? What are we thinking? Do you know what I mean? So
I actually think Senesi is probably the best signing we've made this summer.
Yeah. Isn't that weird though? Like, when Arsenal was signing all those players, where are they going to play them all? And Spurs fans say them all, he's never going to start. He's never going to start. We cry out for strength in depth. And when we start getting the strength in depth, the first thing they say is, well, where's he going to play? He's not going to get any minutes.
I had a conversation with my friend, he's an Arsenal fan, and it was funny. I think it was maybe a year ago when with Ethan and Arsenal was signing all these players. And I said, you're not going to sign that player. I think it might have been, I think when they signed Madueke, I was like, you're not going to sign Eze as well because there's no pathway for Ethan, if you buy both of them. And he said something, I actually changed my mindset about it. He said, well, we have to try and compete for the league. We need to buy the players who can do that now. And if Ethan's good enough, he'll make it. Like, he'll get games if he's good enough. Yeah. And I was like, fairs. And since then, they spawned Max Dowman. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, they started off with the Maitland-Nileses. And then it was like the Smith-Rowes. And then it was the Ethans, and now it's the Dowmans. Being honest,
and the Skellies.
And the Skellies. If you develop your academy, you will always have talent coming through. Do you know what I mean? And you'll be able to flip the good talent for a good amount of money and clean PSR money.
Which we've done, with 6 million for what's his name the other week? Went to Preston. Got my
Alfie.
Yeah. We've got others. Is Phillips going to be sold? Phillips will be sold. Dorrington will be sold. Donnelly potentially probably will be sold. And I don't know how much for, but I think a lot of these players will be sold this summer with a sell-on clause. I think a lot of them will go. I think we'll have a big clear out.
And we've got lots of new young players coming in as well. So we do need to clear out a number of young players. That the squad is gigantic.
It's huge. But
even players like Takai he should probably go.
What about this? What about Yang Min Hook? I mean, this is why I say you talk about great talent ID. He's gone to Japan, which is producing unbelievable talent, and we find the only one with a condition that can't kick a ball at the moment.
Yeah,
we sign a Korean. We sign a Korean that's supposedly the hot Korean. He might be all right for a barbecue, but he hasn't been doing it for in the football field.
Jonny and Sean, can I ask you a question you asked me, but I'm going to flip it a little bit.
Go on.
Who's the player that you're looking forward to seeing in pre-season who's not an obvious player? Like, he's not somebody that people would think of. Maybe he wasn't a regular last season. Maybe he's coming back from loan. Maybe he was injured. But who's the player
For me, it's Lancashire.
You want to see Lancashire in pre-season?
I think Lancashire has the awareness. He reminds me a cross between a little bit of a Gary Lineker, that football IQ of when to arrive in the box. And he has the physicality, even at his age. And he also has an eye for a goal. That goal that he scored for Oxford near the end of the season when he dropped his shoulder and bang one in from distance, but also the ability to like ghost in the box and know when to come in, just running onto a ball in a poor team. I think he could be a really good player, and I do not want to sell him. And I don't want him to go out on loan either, because we can't trust Richarlison or Solanke. If Richarlison goes and we're left with Solanke and we only buy one striker, there's a good chance that Solanke will be injured. Very good. And we can't have one striker playing out the whole season.
He worked with Evan Ferguson, didn't he?
Who?
Deserby.
Yeah, he did. I just think there's something. I just think there's something about Lancashire. I think the others, everyone's going on about Jonny Byfield, but Jonny's like 17 years of age. He's going to be great.
I always think centre backs develop strangely sometimes. It's not. I never think centre backs develop linearly. Is because I look at it wasn't that funny. So I was like, I look at it from the point of view of saying, these young players, you see like Josh Achapong, Chelsea. He's another example. Very, very, very highly rated, but then it doesn't make the strides that maybe we're thinking. And I think that's the thing with these youngsters now. Is having finished 17th twice. Honestly, I'm just like, I don't even know which one of these youngsters comes through and is. Jesus, look at the guns. I don't know which one of these youngsters becomes the one. Williams Barnett, I would say, is the one. He's the one I want to see in preseason. I want to see if
still young, still.
So's Rio at Liverpool, but he's getting some exposure.
His guns have come up. Archie Gray looks like he's been working on his guns during the summer. He looks like he's had a bit of a growth spurt.
He definitely looks a little taller. I mean, players like Tyrese Hall, I don't know if their time's already gone, because we have so many youngsters from different age groups.
Tynan
Thompson, yeah, he's good. Abbott, they like him internally. Is that still the case? Who knows? He had an injury. There's so many. We've got so many young players.
I'm a big fan of Callum Oluwesi. I really like him, but is there really a pathway? I don't think there's a pathway for any of these players. That's my whole point. They're great. They would probably have to leave Spurs to go and get a position maybe in League One or the Championship and then end up coming back, like Smith, who was at Spurs, ended up at Bournemouth. There's lots of players that have to leave Premier League clubs because there's no pathway to go back. Look at Balogun. Balogun couldn't get a run in, and Arsenal needed a striker. They could have probably done with Balogun before they bought Goicoechea.
I think they made it, but to be fair to Arsenal, they kind of picked Nketiah at the time. Yeah. So if anything, they actually had developed 2 number 9s from their academy. Do you know what I mean? At the same time. So nice work if you can get it.
Yeah, and look at Nketiah's done jack shit. Who is the player that I think Kudus will be the most improved player next season, personally, under De Zerbi. Sean, thoughts? Who that could be?
The player that would do what, sorry?
Who would be the most improved player, do you think, next season under De Zerbi?
Oh, that's a question. Most improved assumes that not everyone's starting from an equal baseline. I would say...
Or who would do the best? Who would be standout, do you think? Obviously not the new signings, because obviously, they're there already. They're coming in. But I'm talking about someone who's already there.
Yeah. It's a great fucking question, mate, because we've got new players in so many positions. I'd say, I think Pedro Porro is going to have a wonderful season.
Yeah, I think so. I've got to address this one. Listen, we're talking about kids, right? I've not mentioned for once that they're going to be starting or anywhere near. I'm saying there is no pathway for the kids. Johnny, you do my head in with these deadbeats that are not good enough to play for Spurs. You and Luba must be hating over his decisions to get rid of. No, I don't care about all of them. I'm just saying you can't sell them all. Okay, there's a difference between selling 1, 2, or 3 and selling them all carte blanche because you've got no interest. De Zerbi is only interested in the now. I'm only interested in the now, but also I've got a mindful eye on what might be coming through in 4 or 5 years' time, 3 years' time, 2 years' time. Yeah. So, yeah, I do give a shit about some of them. Xavi's not going to be playing this season. Kinski. Could be Kinski. Pipe down your sausage. Destiny's right. Bang on, mate. It just give him a
back in one sec, Johnny. So I'm gonna get a cider.
Okay, mate. Okay. I just what was going to say? Something else I was going to ask. Hang on, let me just find it if I can find it. Where is it now? Where are we? 1 second. Where are we? So, where do Spurs finish this season? If we sign a striker, we sign Savinho, and we sign a striker, are we good enough to finish in the top 5 with that squad?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes,
I agree.
Yeah, I think the thing is like you got to look at it. Like look at Spence, Romano, Porro. These guys all playing last 4 of the World Cup. Like these players are good. Like obviously how they connect to each other, the relationships.
Have we not sold?
We sold Romero, or he'll be leaving soon, and Spence maybe. But this is the point of regardless of. If the manager feels like he can get more from other players, these are players that we finished back-to-back 17th. Unfortunately, tough decisions need to be made for us to reshape the squad. Whether that's players I like, whether it's young players, doesn't really matter. The squad needs to be reshaped. Regardless of how we feel, we failed domestically. So everyone's on the chopping block. It's not a right or wrong answer for me. It's just everyone's available. And I think based on the reshaping of the squad and playing one game a week, we should be, with the money that we're investing in the squad, looking to challenge for top 5 as our almost minimum expectation. I'm not even trying to put too much. It's not even me saying that's the expectation. I'm saying a byproduct of spending that money is that the expectation has to genuinely.
Oh, it's massively ramped up. Yeah, it's massively
not signing with us because they think we're gonna meander around 6th or 7th. They think we can challenge. They think De Zerbi plus them is going to be able to do something good, and that's what we have to aspire to. So yeah,
that's what Matías Fernandes was, alluding to, that he's joined Spurs to win. But they all say that, don't they, Sean? Don't they all?
Yeah, well, I couldn't believe when Vuskovic was saying like it was always Brighton. Was it always Brighton? Some of the bollocks you hear out of players when they first sign for
honestly, mate. Yeah, I'm going to unfollow Spurs. I'm going to unfollow them. Right? I mean,
he lost like 200,000. He lost 200,000 followers in like 2 hours that day.
Yeah,
the guy's an absolute pony of a human being. Good luck to him in his career. I really hope he gets exactly the outcomes in which his work and his quality determined. So all I ever want for anyone, really. All I ever want for anyone in life is to get your just rewards, get your outcomes that are commensurate with your value, and then let karma take care of the rest. I don't rate him. I think he's a bit of a donut, and I'm glad he's out of our football club. How dare he think of himself as bigger and better than Tottenham? Shut up, Vuskovic, you donut. That's my.
Tell me something. Is this guy capable of a 20 GA? I mean, what we?
Not.
He's not, is he? He's not. He's not capable of a 20 GA. Kudos.
No, I need a monster, Johnny. I need a monster in the. Like we spent all last year talking about get me a monster 6. Monster 6 was the call for 3 years running. Where's my monster 6? Where's my monster 6? Then we got Polini, did a fantastic job. Never let me down. Love that guy. He should have actually been signed anyway.
Correct.
Regardless of what else we were doing, but whatever. That's a much of a muchness. But in terms of what we need now, is a monster 9 and a monster winger. And we need something. We need to level up. We need to have some fear factor. We need to have some X-rated players. J-rated X, right? J's name on Twitter is J-rated X. We need 9.
Rated R, but close enough. Close enough.
Rated R.
Unless people want to follow me, it's obviously not close enough. But in terms of this, keep going. You keep going. If anything, I didn't even want to correct you because you were flowing. You were in flow state. I didn't even want to correct you.
I mean, look, Tottenham needs some X-rated 9s, bro.
Yes.
What we need. Yes. We need some fear factor. I'm sorry, Savinho for me doesn't do it. I'm not saying I won't get on board it. I'm not saying I won't cheer his name and wish him to do well. I need someone to tartar me every weekend, and he's just not the guy. Not the guy.
I mean, these are Sean's stats in the Spurs Hub. If you don't know, you need to know. I'm sure Sean will tell you.
You want to hit that accept all down the bottom there, Johnny. You want to make sure you get those notifications coming through.
Johnny's like, yeah, about that. Maybe later.
But listen, when you look at these, Sean, in isolation, his conversion rate is shit. His non-penalty. I mean, those numbers at the top aren't good, are they? They aren't good as a centre forward.
You go on customised fields and you pick any of the other numbers that are on there. They don't get better. Scroll down.
No, yeah.
Well, you see where it says customised fields there above the polygon.
Yeah.
You go. Oh, sorry, you've done it already. You go and add some more. If you scroll down, sorry, you can add some more. You go and add them. They don't look much better.
No. What should we add? Through balls?
Yeah, assists, open play assists, pass completions.
Let's try those. Let's try those.
Stuff. Successful dribbles attempted.
You see, look, they're just not the through balls. They're not impressive.
He's half the pie, mate. He's half the pie. He's
he's half a jigsaw puzzle, mate. It's half a jigsaw puzzle. I'm looking for a player that's gonna tick our boxes. That's gonna tick all the boxes that we need. The one thing that's missing from this team it's 3 players right now: a banging number 9, a banging left winger, and a banging 10 or second 9. So that's why, for me, I'd take Krupi Jr. all day long, because Krupi Jr. can come in. I think right now he's not an out-and-out striker. I think he's a attacking midfielder.
Yeah, but what you're paying 100 million quid for a guy that's because you're paying 100 million quid for a guy that's had one good season playing as a 10, and you don't need a 10 as much as you need a 9. He's had 500 minutes in the 9. It's like someone rating Butler an incredible James Bond level potential next superstar because one night I was in good shape and I managed to go home with a 10 out of 10 bird. You got to do it consistently to be considered a heartthrob. You can't just put a worldie every now and again and then claim that you are some sort of heartthrob. You have to do it consistently, Johnny. And unfortunately, Krupi hasn't played that role consistently, bro. He's not a £100 million player yet.
No, listen, for me, I think he will be the 9. I think 100% he will be a 9, but I'm quite happy for him to be that attacking 10 or the second striker, right, for that, and then go and get ourselves a striker on loan with an option or something like that, and a left winger. You don't think if we get Krupi Jr., he's our striker?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. I think he'd be our number 10.
I agree.
Yeah, but like that, and that's fine if you want to do that. That's absolutely fine. But then you're spending 100 million quid on a 21. What does that mean for Xavi Simons? What does that mean for Maddison? What does that mean for the other guys that are fighting? And Mikey Moore, you mentioned Mikey Moore. What does that mean for these guys, right? I'm saying £100 million is precious money. And I don't want to see that dropped into a 10. I want to see that dropped on a 9. So if you've got 100 million quid to spend and you've got 300 grand a week to pay someone, go and have a conversation with Osimhen. See if you could absolutely shake up the
Osimhen's a dream, mate. Osimhen's a dream. Yeah, Osimhen's a dream.
You're telling me Galatasaray wouldn't take 100 million quid right now?
He's on 350 grand a week net.
Okay. So you give him 350 grand a week. You give him 350 grand a week.
Listen, I drive Osimhen.
It's supposed to be Billy Big Bollocks, mate. You can't rock up to a fucking gunfight with a knife and then pretend like you're going to win the game. If we're Billy Big Bollocks, then I'd much rather if Tottenham have got 100 million quid to spend on a solution at the top end of the pitch. But have a conversation. Have a conversation with that geezer. Tony, don't know about him. Don't know about that. I'm not sure if that's quite enough for me. But like, if you are really Billy Big Bollocks now, go and have a conversation and see what happens. I'm not saying it will happen, but why not pretend like we're the new Chelsea?
Oh, listen, that would be my dream.
Osimhen would go to Chelsea, would he not? Would you be shocked if last summer you heard that Osimhen was linked to Chelsea? I
think everyone in football was shocked that he went to Turkey, but he's an absolute lunatic. I'll tell you who I wouldn't mind. I'm probably going to get shot down here. Is Jackson, right?
Wow. Off, mate.
I mean, if we're going for a cheap striker, if we're going down that route on a loan,
we've just gone from Osimhen to Jackson. It's like going.
Osimhen is a no-brainer, right? Of course,
we're going from Halle Berry to fucking like.
What's realistic, mate? Come on, look, Osimhen. We spoke about on Football Inc. time and time again.
Okay, if not Osimhen, right? But you want to drop 100 million quid on a forward, Omar Marmoush. He is a 9. He didn't
even start for Egypt, did he? He didn't even start for Egypt. What does that say? What does that say about him? He came on as a sub.
Krupi Jr. has played 500 minutes as a striker in his entire career.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you. He's not a number 9. I love
the fact that all Tottenham fans now are of the level of arrogance with our money to go, I'm not interested in Nicola. I don't want no Jackson. I don't. How? What's doing it? It's bad.
No. Wow. I just because I had to come back because I was listening and that I winced at that Michael Jackson. It was It was painful, and I wanted Sean to.
It was pitch perfect though.
I wanted to look you in the eye and be like, that hurt me. That genuinely hurt me. Points were good.
Disrespect, mate. Jeff's got it. I actually think Jackson ain't a terrible striker, to be honest.
We're not going. Listen,
do you want to know what the issue is with Jackson? Apart from, okay, there was a low-hanging fruit, Jack, but okay, cool. The issue with Jackson is eventually what will happen is you have to pay the piper. And what I mean by that is his finishing. I think his link-up play, his associative play, his running, he's like, great. I think all of those attributes, I really like them. However, his finishing, he will always be capped at his finishing. And when you finish that erratically, you cannot be relied upon. And eventually, regardless of however well he starts, however well he plays, we will always be limited or capped at his finishing ability. And that's why I can never co-sign signing him, despite all of the positive attributes he's got.
Jackson 5 needs 5 chances to score. Simple as ABC. Stop it. Listen, I'm not sure. Tony's the one that people come out with a lot.
You take Dennis Undov from Stuttgart.
He's not bad. I mean, Gary Speed's called for John Duran.
Ferran Torres. How about that? Go and get me someone like Ferran Torres. Yeah. Go and get me
Brahim Diaz.
Brahim Diaz is a right winger. He's a right winger and an attacking midfielder.
I'd say Ferran Torres.
Yeah.
I'd definitely take Ferran Torres. I think he'd be good for us.
Ferran Torres would be fucking... But he's a winger as well, to be fair. Right, but he's a winger that can... He scored 16 goals last season as a winger. He wasn't even playing 100% a minute. So
I think some people think we're talking about Jesse Jackson. No, he's the evangelist.
What's that guy's name? Mariki from Mallorca. Didn't he get like 17 goals?
No more obscure takeaways on Uber Eats. We're eating in restaurants now.
But he's got 4.8 stars though. It's got 4.8 stars, and it's doing me chicken shashlik.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I mean, we're scraping around looking for. Everyone's demanding a top number 9. Yet there aren't. There's Tony. There's Osman. Vlahovic. Is Vlahovic really the guy? I don't think he's a De Zerbi player, Vlahovic. I really don't. I don't think he's the type of... He plays in the same sort of system. Guys, if you're in the chat, please hit the like button. And if you're here for the first time, please hit the subscribe. Keep forgetting to
go in a minute, Johnny.
We're all going to go in a minute. We've been going for longer than I thought. But before we go, guys, where do you think currently with this squad, if we don't sign anyone, where are we right now as a club? I would say we are 8th or 9th at the moment.
If we don't sign anybody.
If we are, as we are right now, where are we? 8th or 9th? You?
8th, 9th, yeah, whatever, yeah.
And if we sign,
we're halfway through. We're halfway through the lovemaking, Johnny. We can't ask the lady to give us a rating until we've completed the job. Till we've completed,
Yeah, till it's over. It's over.
Wait a little bit, love. I haven't dropped into 3rd gear yet. What are we doing?
I think we need. I personally believe for this team to get where it needs to get to, we need 3 more attacking players. Not 1, not 2, 3. How many do you think we'll get?
3 more.
You agree?
But 3. I think one of them will be someone that's young. We don't know too much about.
Lastminute.com at the end.
No, I think we might have a little bomber on the last day, but I think we'll get 2 more in. I think we'll get between now and within a week, between now and the 23rd or whatever, we're going to get Savinho. That's going to be done, and then we sell a couple more, and then we go again for a striker, whoever that is. But I just think the striker market is fucking tough, which is why I'm just sitting there going, if you're going to drop 100 million on something, drop it on someone or us a tartarish. I don't know why that's such a horrible thing to suggest. I just think
it's not. Go all in. If we went all in on Victor Osimhen, I'd also say, you know what? Okay, don't get the left wing on us. I'll play with Matchday and keep Mikey Moore.
Yeah.
Right? It meant getting Victor Osimhen because I know he's an absolute animal. I also know he's a frigging lunatic.
Imagine, Johnny. Just imagine, right? The meltdown of all meltdowns.
Oh my God!
Tottenham Hotspur confirm like Savinho and Osimhen, and Osimhen was like, "It was only ever Tottenham. It was only ever Tottenham. It was only ever Tottenham." We'll be fucking rat-a-tat-tat. Wouldn't believe a word of it. But I'd be all over him. The amount of shirts he would sell would be absolutely son Sasha now.
Would be Osimhen. Jay, who's your striker, buddy? You can do it from behind your. Who's
I was working out my dinner. Striker that I think is logical. Balogun, I'd consider.
I would consider Balogun.
I'd consider Ferran Torres. I'd consider Guirassy. I'd consider.
We're looking for a mobile striker, aren't we? Rather than.
Did you just say you were working out your dinner at 10:20, and you also in the last 20 minutes said we're not doing takeaways anymore. We're a restaurant.
No. I mean, obviously, I was speaking metaphorically as Tottenham. I personally am still doing takeaways, and I am still using obscure reviews on Uber Eats. Just to make that clear.
What are you getting for dinner? What are you getting?
Probably Chinese. I'm looking at my local Chinese. I'm trying to work out whether I want sweet and sour or whether I want like a chicken and black bean, like the chicken fried rice,
lemon chicken, plain soft noodles, couple of
lemon chicken. What's lemon chicken about?
Guys, can you help me out with your selection?
Oh, don't mind if I do. Yeah. Lemon chicken's the only
chicken. It's called Little China in Salford. So
yeah, get some lemon chicken, bro.
I can't believe. Are you the type of guy, Jay, that goes to the Chinese and orders a curry?
No. I'm a chicken fried rice guy, and then like some sort of dish on top of that. And then maybe some chips or something.
Lemon chicken is banging. Sorry, Mr. M. Lemon chicken. If you have never tried a lemon chicken, Jay, get yourself a lemon chicken. Get yourself some plain soft noodles. Hang on, let me finish the fucking dinner for you. Couple of prawn toast, little bit of seaweed, okay?
Yeah.
And then some prawn crackers and a nice
no soup.
Yeah.
Wonton soup or something like maybe wonton soup.
Got to do wonton.
You can't go wrong with wonton.
I'm going to place this order in a second so you guys know what I'm going to get. Hold on one second. Let's see. Lovely woman as well. Lovely woman. I don't actually know what I'm ordering yet, so I'm calling. It could hopefully.
Go on, let's do it. We're going to do it.
Let's do it live.
We're going to do it live.
I'm doing that. Hey, how you doing? You okay? Thanks. I was. Can I get a chicken fried rice with extra chili?
Yeah, do you want delivery or you come here pick it up?
I'll take delivery, thanks. Yeah, I'm feeling lazy today. Thank you very much, though. Thanks for the offer. So we'll go with chips and we'll go with chicken and black bean sauce, please.
Yeah.
And could I have a soup, like one of those little soups? Do you have a wonton soup?
Yeah, wonton soup, yeah.
Fuck it, throw it in.
It's everything, yeah?
That's it.
Yeah, so I got chicken fried rice with chips, chicken in black bean sauce, and the wonton soup.
Sounds good.
Okay, yeah, it will be £20 for this, all right?
Perfect, thank you very much.
Okay, then.
See you later. Thank you. Bye.
There you go. Hey, that is the worst. That's a fail of all. You have the audacity to just that.
What do you mean? What are you expecting me to have here?
What we just discussed. Plain soft noodles, lemon chicken, some fucking prawn toast, sesame prawn toast, a little bit of seaweed, and some prawn crackers. Mate, if anyone knows how to order a fucking Chinese, it's this geezer. What are you doing, bro?
Okay, so first and foremost, right? Okay, they know me, so the prawn crackers, they're complimentary. I don't even need to ask for those. They're just gonna bring me them. Like, that's what happens when you're a celebrity around the local Chineses. And secondly, the chicken fried rice with chili. and the chicken in black bean sauce. That is a meal within itself.
I know it's a meal within itself, but it's the wrong meal.
I also got wonton soup, and the chips is just for the gains. I feel like you guys are just being super critical. In reality, it's basically chicken fried rice, chicken in black bean sauce, and a wonton soup, and you guys are losing your minds over it.
Listen, enough of this waffle, okay? Everyone in the chat, you know the numbers game, right? 1 to 10. You know what we're doing here? If what he's just ordered is anything above a 5 in your estimation, then the entire chat is fraud. Okay, you're all fraud. 1 to 10. Come on, one being the appropriate answer. What are we doing here?
Also, look at the time. It's you can't eat nothing too heavy. You can't eat something crazy heavy. Like you guys are so like. Let's hear some of your orders. Everyone's a backseat driver when it comes to late night Chinese orders. You know what I mean? Everyone's got the answers. Let's hear some. Mama says lemon chicken. No, because there's no harmonization on lemon chicken. Lemon chicken in one place will taste different to lemon chicken in another place. There's no unity there. How can I just order lemon chicken?
But you're a regular at this place. You should know.
Yeah, man. But I don't even know if they have lemon. Fuck knows. I don't know.
Mate, it all went wrong. It all went wrong. All I know is,
Thank you, James.
we're all going. Come on round to me, Jay. Come on round to me. I've ordered a Chinese. You get round this.
And by the way, I never would have ordered the wonton soup. That was just a pressure. That was just a panic order. I might not even eat it.
Pressure. Pressure order. Did you order prawn crackers?
They come complimentary.
Yeah, that doesn't mean you're a legend. That just means that they're just throwing shit in there.
Well, obviously, it just means I hit the minimum order, but obviously semantics.
That is, look, 1 and 3s. All right, we got 3, 1, 1, 3.
Listen, just quickly. On my order, chat, same rules, okay? 1 to 10. My order from your local Chinese. You know the game of your local Chinese. Prawn crackers, sesame prawn toast, a little bit of seaweed, lemon chicken, plain soft noodles, or if you really want to go a little bit over the top, then chicken chow mein. But I would suggest plain chow mein noodles.
Mm-hmm.
That's the 5 things.
Okay.
Now tell me, give me the 8s and the 9s that are necessary. What are we doing here? Okay.
Okay. So
wait, Jay, just watch and fucking learn, bro. Watch and learn. Chat, do your thing. See, we got 7, 6, 7.5. We're already smashing anything out of your park, bro. What are you doing here? Joe Beasley, kick him out. Ban him, Johnny. Ban him.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, people are like, why are you wasting? Like, thank you guys. Like,
I've never.
Listen, mate, my average is far better.
Oh, Godfather, it's the pressure. Godfather, it was the pressure on the chat. But yeah, chicken fried rice, extra chili, black bean, chicken in black bean sauce, and then chips. That is a perfectly acceptable order. That's a good.
I think I'm actually going to get myself a chicken lemon right now. I've already had dinner, but I think I'm going to get myself a chicken lemon anyway.
Shredded chili beef, right? Singapore noodles, sweet and sour chicken, right? Pak choy in oyster sauce, fried rice.
Fuck it! How much money do you have? There's a recession.
I'm ordering for the group. I'm ordering. Oh, right. You ordered for yourself.
Johnny's the sort of guy that turns a Chinese order into a little bit of tapas, right? Everyone's getting a little sprinkle of everything. Everyone's getting a little bit of something here. What are you doing
wrong with that?
That's what I'm saying. There's a recession indicator. Do you know what I mean? Like,
there's no recession, bro. You just got to figure out a way to fucking earn it. You know what I mean? What we're doing here?
I mean, proper Chinese. Anyone who orders curry, mate, honestly, curry at a Chinese.
But I mean, like, it depends on what your budget is. But like, I do need to go to the cash point. I'll be back. Uno momento.
Oh, he's actually going to play.
There must be a cash point outside his house for him to say, "I'm going to the cash point." And I'll be back in a second. There must be a cash point literally outside his gaff, you know, or maybe his cash point is in his.
Yeah, he probably is. He's got one in his wall.
No, what the fuck?
Oh dear!
I got to round off, Tony. I've got to go in a minute.
Yeah, listen, guys, we're all going to. I'm
gonna leave with you because, like, I didn't want to be depressed and come back to the no one will hear. It's like they waited until he went to go and get food and then they left. Guys, pleasure chat. You've been fantastic.
Guys, amazing.
See you again soon.
Like, hit the subscribe button. Give Jay a follow.
Yeah, thank you guys.
You know who Sean is. Spurs Talk Show,
Yes, Jay.
and also don't forget the Spurs Hub. If you want to go and check out what Sean's doing over there, it's a brilliant thing. Guys, hit the like. If you're here for the first time, hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to grow the channel. Couldn't have done it without you guys. Really appreciate you. Have a good night. And I will speak to you soon as I'm going to end the stream. Come on, you Spurs. And let's hope, Sean, we got a bomber tomorrow because I'm getting a bit twitchy.